Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to the early show. It's Saturday. It's early Saturday for some of you, really early Saturday for some of you, and late Saturday for some of you others. Anyway, nice to have you here. We are also joined early today by none other than the illustrious Mr. Eddie, who is setting up. So we won't annoy him just yet. He's still setting up, but you know he's there. And we'll come back to him when he is ready. I'll just put his mic on so we can hear him banging around in the background. Right. Well, what are we up to? Well, lots of things. It's been a busy week for me. I've been doing a lot of synth geeky stuff, which is always really good. Nice to have you here in the chat room. I'll just bring that up now. You guys are all already getting filled up with. It's so nice to have you guys here with the early show. I never thought the early show would be anything that would be interesting, because all I do is just muck around with synths, and I guess maybe that's what we all want to do, don't we? Let's say hello to everyone that's here anyway before we get stuck into anything sort of dangerous. I think Paul gets the Guernsey for coming in first today, Paul Torbett. Good on you, Paul. Well done. Thanks for coming. Martin Taylor's there. G'day. What else? ASIO Head Bert. How you going, buddy? Marcus Fuller. Good to see Marcus. Who else we got? We've got This is Renz, which is always nice to see. JX3D, one of our super Patreon / channel members. You can see the little S next to his name. That means he's joined the channel. So you guys should do it. It's only a few bucks, and then you can have the super synth, nerdy badge next to you. What else we got? Human Error. I think I said, no, I didn't. Big hello to you, Sasquatch, as well. Poo Ninja. Lay is there. And I believe Lay is from my town, so big hello to you. Future World Machine's another one of our channel members, so big hello to you. Who else have we got? Ken Lewis has jumped in. Good on you, Ken. And I think Wagoo's popped in at the last second, which is always good to see Daniel there. So good to see everyone who's jumped in. So early birds catching the worms, which is always good. Right, what should we do? I think Eddie's still mucking around. So why don't we do something like, we'll do Eddie, we'll do me, and then we could probably put the chatties there. And I don't know, so maybe I might put, I've got to find it. Where is it? Black Magic Cam there. Black Magic, a bit of Black Magic. Synths in the corner. We don't usually put the synths in the corner, but there it is there. Hello, like little synthies. And I can move you guys around too, so what can we do? We can do Novation Peak Cam. Look at that, Novation Peak. And if I play something, now let's see. Let us see if I've got some noise happening here. So we want to have audio from, where are we? I always get this wrong. Hang on a minute, hang on. Yes, audio should be ready. Let's try something. Let's try some. Yeah, Deckard's Brass, which is just a publicly available patch on the Peak. Just a Peak's a good synth. I love the Peak. Probably should tell you guys, I had a really good relationship with the Novation bass station and the bass station 2, and I've always liked the way they sounded and the way the user format, and just always liked. And when they brought I've always wanted for Novation to do a polyphonic analog synth. They never really quite did it, so they did a hybrid. This is a digital oscillator / analog filter signal path type synth. So it's a hybrid, a bit like the Hydra synth, I guess, in that sense. But you know what? It really didn't matter in the end. It's a beautiful sounding synth. Who here in the chat has got a Peak? Let us know. Or a Summit, same sort of thing, but just a bit bigger. And tell us how you're getting on with your Peak. I'm getting messages, so I better check those. Just 1 second. Okay, right. We'll let Eddie set up. Now, what else can we do? What I've been doing during the week is we'll go across to the Mac. Boom. Right, over on the Mac. Let's do the Mac for a sec. Right, now, what I want to do on the Mac is I want to tie in sort of hardware and software at the same time. We'll probably go through a bit of software later on in the show. I'm not going to do it right now. This is all hardware related now. So I've got my Eurorack coming in through here. So there's my Eurorack. If I mute the MX1, you'll just hear the Eurorack. Anyway, that is, yeah, so that's coming through the Eurorack, and what we'll do is I'll show you guys a little bit about what I'm kind of up to there. And the old trick is I've got the Big Sky, the DD500, so let's make those a little bit wider so you guys can see Euro. You can see the sends on them at least. There we go. Let's get the sends. I don't know if I like this dark background. I played with it today and I thought to myself, I want to try the dark. Let's go back to the, I don't know, does that look, do you guys prefer that or the mid-dark? Maybe the mid-dark. I don't know. I wasn't too happy with the dark. Anyway, let's not muck around too much with that rubbish. Okay, so anything from any of these inputs can be rerouted into my effects pedals using my Digiface and Behringer 8200 ADAT sort of system. But what I did today is, which is something new, is I set up, and I don't know if I've got a picture of it here. Do I have it set up to you guys can see it? Maybe not. Let's just go to the right. Okay, if I go and I just show you, I think it's upside down too, isn't it? Why is it upside down? That's weird. There we go. I've set up the MX1, which is a mixer I've had. You guys probably even found my channel because of this mixer. A lot of videos on this stuff early in the day. I found that I really just needed to aggregate some of my inputs. So over here on the right, you'll see the Ultra Gain ADAT module. There's only 8 inputs on that. And as a result, I found that I've used up the 8, and then the 8 was just completely all mono inputs, and I kind of missed out on some of the stereo fatness of some of the synths. And you really do need to enjoy that stereo fatness, like the peak. The peak is going through, on the MX1, it's going through the digital channel, and I'm using a digital converter that converts the coax digital cable. You can just see it at the top in the middle. There's kind of a silvery looking thing. And there it is there. And that goes into a little DA box and it converts it into a standard phono jack type thing at the top of the peak there. So that way I get an extra stereo channel on this. And then also I get to plug in all my Roland-y type synths. Like for example, I haven't had this baby in for ages. That is the System 1 with an SH101 overlay on it. So that's plumbed in now. And also over here, the System 8. And now the System 8 was already plumbed in before, but I kind of wanted it to be stereo because it's got some nice effects in there. So because they're all going through the USB up on the top right hand corner, you can see all those USB cables again. This thing can fit 4 Roland USB connected synths. The USB will, and one of them can do power as well. The USB will do MIDI and audio, and one of them is as well as power. And because that's stereo, that means I've also got another 4 stereo inputs that will now all aggregate into just 2 inputs on the ADAT module. Yes, it doesn't mean I can multi-track, but if I just mute each one of those channels on the MX1, I can multi-track that. It's not too bad. For me, it was a quick sort of workaround. And I was quite happy with it so far. So what did I do? So over on the Mac, I can go into my little MIDI thing here, and I can just change MIDI channels. So for example, channel 14 is the peak. Let's go to channel 6, which should be the system 8. Am I getting a double up here of the audio, or is that just in my ears? It's in my ears. Just give me a sec, guys. I don't want to hear it twice. It's going to do my head in. All right. Okay, that will do. Right, so that's the system 8, and then I can change it to the system 1. So it's just very, very nicely done. It's all going through the MX1, as you can see. So MX1 is this one here, which is the kind of purpley pinky coloured channel here that's highlighted. Let's put something on there so you guys can see. Spectrum. The only problem with the System 1 is it's a little bit, I don't know, it's not the greatest synth, but it's handy. I just wanted to have a play with it today. I don't know, I might probably put the JDXI in instead of that. I'm not sure. Anyway, I can change all the channels here, and it will change based on the synth that I've got plugged in and what channel it's got. So that's actually very handy, and it's all going into the MX1. And then out of the ADAT module, I've still got things like the mini log, the Sub 37, the Odyssey, all those kind of mono synths, which is perfect for that ADAT module because they're all mono inputs, and you don't have to worry about. I need to show you this. This is something that really does my head in with these ADAT module things. If I move that to the right, if you've got stereo plugged into that, see how you've got the preamp faders? See the vertical, I can't point, but see the vertical ADAT module there. Each channel has its own fader. Now, for you to get those faders perfect, like for example on the bottom first 2 channels, the left and right of the MX1, you have to put like a solid mono sound through it, and you literally have to watch. It's just a pain. So for me, I think for the rest of the channels that are going into that would be just perfect for things like mono synths and stuff like that. If you're wondering what was below the peak, yes, it is the Behringer vocoder VC340. I kind of don't really use the vocoder much on that. And so when I feel like doing Beastie Boys impersonations, I'm kind of more into the string side of it. Yeah. Okay, so that's what I've been up to. And as a result, there was a few changes down there, having to get all that set up. So yeah, interesting stuff. Let's see what the chatties are saying. Questions from the chatties? I have got social running, so I can also highlight your comments if you guys feel the need. Good to see a few more people pop in. Wow. Cresshead's here, Kev Human's here. Who else popped in? There's probably a lot of people that aren't even in the chat that have popped in and are watching. Max there, good on you. Stephen, thanks for joining us. Native VS joined us. Yeah. Also, Steve Powell. Good to see you. And there was a comment that didn't make it there. Thanks, Ken, for the support. Make sure you press the thumbs. Good on you, mate. Thanks for the support. Okay. So, questions coming in. Sasquatch is asking, does the VC340 sound better than the Strike Fet? Well, I think the Strike Fet is a really good emulated synth string machine. I love it. I love the Strike Fet. I think when you enable the ensemble on the Strike Fet, it just really shines the most. I think maybe when it's not, it's a little bit digital sounding. It's more modeled after the Logan, I believe, from what I've read. Someone could probably correct me if I'm wrong here. The ARP Selena and the Logan, I think, is what they modeled it after, and a bit of the Eminence. So yeah, Eminent. Sorry. So that's kind of that. The VC340 string machine is obviously the VP330 Roland thing. Let's have a listen to it anyway. I'll get it happening with MIDI. I think it's on MIDI channel 7. Okay, let's see what happens here now. We've got to mute. I'm getting nothing. Why am I getting nothing? Where's the VC340? That's interesting. VC340 is, has it turned itself off or something? Let's go and have a look at the VC340, see what's happened. Maybe it's turned itself off. Have I got it over there? We'll go to here, flip it over. One sec. No, it's on. It's definitely coming in. I know what I did wrong, peoples. It's not MIDI channel 7, it's MIDI channel 15. No. 13. That's Odyssey. What have I done? 1. I thought it was MIDI channel 15. I don't know, I can't get it to work. Oh. It's coming in. Audio goes to master. Audio goes to VC340. I don't get it. It's not coming through there, is it? I don't know, I can't get it to work. It's weird. Something weird going on. I'll have to work that out later. Damn it, I was working on that before and it was working fine. I did play with doing channel groupings here. So maybe that's got something to do with it. There's channel groupings here. No, it's definitely not playing. It's weird though that I'm getting audio here. Why don't I just add another audio track? I don't like challenges like this. Don't like being beaten. External in track 7 should be in. Now, I've got a feeling I know what's going on here. Let me just do this. Here we go. We got it working, people. All right, what can we bathe it in some effects? We can put it through the big sky. Why don't we add a... Maybe the phaser is what's... Yeah, this is... I reckon this is what's happened. This has died on it. That's what happened. Yeah, there you go. So a plugin, there was a plugin running on that and it died. Anyway, that's the VC34. I reckon that's a lovely sounding synth. Right. Have you tried turning it on and off again? Yes. The MXR flanger, yeah, it does. It sounds really, really good through the MXR flanger. I don't have that plumbed into my plumbing system. Hey, look at me on the screen down there. Look at that. That looks really cool. Bit of self-indulgence. That's funny. Yeah, so plumbing-wise, the MXR is plumbed into my little modular setup right now, which I showed you guys the other day. The MXR is kind of hidden off to the side just a little bit there, but this particular set of knobs along here, the second row, the kind of mid-tone grey there, they are all going to the MXR. So let's have a little listen. If I go and enable something a little bit more sort of crunchy. Anyway. That is that. That is the MXR. I love that. I love the sound of that. It's just, you can't do that with digital, I don't think. The sound of the Summit, yes. Aziohead says, I love the sound of the Summit. If you own the Peak, do you often think about getting the Summit instead? Or is the Peak really just plenty of synth on its own, if that makes sense? Yeah, it does. It makes a lot of sense. I've never run out of voices. 8 voices I find completely fine. I find 4 limiting. So things like the Mini Log and the System 1 and those sort of boutique stuff that had the 4 voices, that kind of does my head in a bit. But I think 8 is fine. I've always been able to work around 6 or 8, being in the old Roland days, having the, you know, Super JX and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't think the Peak is limited at all. I mean, the Summit is just insane. So yeah. Having said that though, like the DeepMind 12 is another synth where if you get the 12, it's got the 12 voices, but I find that I double the voices up quite a bit on that. It just sounds a bit more richer, and I find that it ends up being a 6 voice as a result. So you go into the settings of each voice and you make it so that it's double, and you can detune the 2. It just really thickens it up, especially if you don't want to use the onboard effects and you want to use something else. So things like the DeepMind 12 I find better with dual 6 voices. I don't know if I'd get away with the DeepMind 6. I don't think I'd like it. Yeah. Oh, I mean, when you've got that flanger pedal set up to a really sort of low rate, it just aeroplane sounds. That's jet aeroplane sounds. That's what it's doing. Okay, so what else was I going to show you guys before we kind of got sidetracked with questions, which are allowed. You're completely allowed to do the questions. That's fine. Oh, okay. So we were talking about sort of mixing and mucking around in Ableton, but just because I'm lazy, I like to sit here, right? But if you kind of look around me, I've got kind of little stations sort of, I've got to point the other way. Look, all around here is kind of stations, right? So there's like a Eurorack station here. There's the MPC and the Force over there. Right in the corner is the ARP 2600. And then over here is like another sort of station where there's the MX1. So I do have to move, I've got a second chair in here. I do have to move my butt onto different chairs when I'm doing stuff. But generally speaking, I'll sit here and then I'll jump over to the Mac terminal and everything is kind of all plumbed in this way, which I find a better workflow for me. And then if I want to, I can do hardware clips on the Force or the MPC, sequencing on the MPC, if I find I just don't really want to touch the computer, which I do have that problem. I don't know about you guys, but I do have a problem where I don't really like sitting there and using a mouse to be creative. I'm more tactile and hands-on. So yeah, that was that. And there was something else I wanted to talk to you guys about just briefly. And I need to get a photo to do this. Just give me a second, I'm just going to get the photo. So, it's not really an ad actually. I kind of want to show you a website, not a photo. Let's do it this way. Let's do it this hard way. The hard way is to do it this way and then I can share it with you guys. So one of the things you'll notice is that all of my Eurorack stuff, it's just a mess with cables, right? So I am going to be moving some modules around here, and one of the things that I'm definitely going to be doing is looking at trying to neaten up the cable management of this a little bit. And one of the things I'm doing is I'm getting these tendrils, which are little right-angled 3.5mm patch cables. And the cool thing about, you can see it in this picture. So you can see, if you look at, this is a really good picture because you can see it's a mix of the tendril cables and normal cables, right? If you look to the left where he's got, in that sort of wide-angled picture there, he's got the tendrils, they're only about 1.2mm outside of the socket, which is really, really shallow, and that's really cool because it gets you closer to the knobs and things like that. And what I also like about it is you can angle them to spin off to whichever direction you want. In some cases it's not going to work because you might find the sockets too close together, in which case you just use a standard cable. So tendrils are on their way, and I should have them hopefully next week. And as a result, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move some of these modules back a row. So the mixer, the VCA matrix, they'll all move back a row, and I'll be putting the System 500 modules in the front row because there's less cables going into that. And that should kind of neaten it up a bit. But if you look here, it's just getting a bit sort of out of control. It all makes sense, but it's just not looking very nice at all. So that's going to happen during the week, and yeah, hopefully that solves that problem. Thoughts, gentlemen and ladies? Hello to a couple of people that have just joined us. Well, I had a little sip of the water. That was, who did I see just join us? I think I saw Sensian join us, yeah. And who else did I see? Grace Griffin joined us too. Big hello to you guys. Yeah, so I don't know if can you guys get tendrils over your way, your part of the world? I'm not sure. I don't know where they exist, whether they're an overseas company or my part of the woods, but actually they were reasonably priced. I mean, patch cables suck. And anyway, I hate buying patch cables, but they were a reasonable price. I thought they were okay. The ones that I loved the most, and you can't get them anymore, was by, I think they were called Naz something, Pittsburgh Modulus, N-A-Z, Nazarus or something. I don't know. They were really cool. I've got a few of them here, actually. I'll show you guys one. Do I have one here? Do I have one here? Yes, I do. These are the cables I'm talking about. They're Pittsburgh Modular cables. There's nothing really fancy. Just get my head around it. Just focusing. Come on, focus. Focus. Focus, you little bugger. So what's good about these is they're springy. So this springs, like, see that, how it springs? And as a result, they kind of, I don't know, it's just how to explain, but they kind of have a sort of nylon-y feel to them, and they're very, very easy to work with, and I just wish they kept making them because they're bloody good. Cable Puppy. Cable Puppy, eh? That's a good name. There's a company in Australia that does, they're called the Synth Patch Cable Company. Haven't used them yet. Oh, they're in the UK, are they? Tendrils. Okay, cool. They've got a lot of good press, so I thought I'd give them a go. I spent, what did I buy? I spent probably about.
Hello.
Hello. Probably bought about 60 of them. Can hear you.
How quiet am I? Hello, everybody.
No, you're good. You're good.
Cool.
Can't complain.
Let me know if you get any feedback or anything. Still fine tweaking. Ever fine tweaking.
Yeah. What we'll do is, while I've just got you here, we'll just do that. Boom. Hey. Looking good. Camera looks good too. Nice and clear. Look at that. Let's go full screen. Hey, I've got to change it. I've got to change your name. Let's change your name because that's just not on.
I wish. I would love to have his collection. And I might even be able to do, look at this. Hello.
Oh, you got camera angles. That's really cool.
Just
all
one.
Right. Can I just try the transition again? Just go here. And then, hey, there we go. Fixed your name.
Thank you very much.
I didn't do the proper Spanish spelling on the, on your surname. Yeah. Oh, yeah, like your 50 middle names. I love that. I think it's cool.
Well, in fact, I'm an exception. I only have 3.
Oh well, you came out good then.
With keeping. So.
It's all to do with like generations, isn't it? It's all to do with grandparents and generations and stuff, isn't it?
Well, to my knowledge, it all came from Italy. They do have one first given name, then grandparents' given names in the given name, and then as we do in Spain, we have the first surname is father's, and the second surname is mother's.
Yeah.
So you carry your name to your children. Otherwise, the mothers gets lost as soon as they get wed.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I mean, in some countries they do the hyphen thing with the 2 names; they join them. In other countries, they don't even care. Like China, for example, their first name is actually said last, I think, isn't it? So they have their surname. They refer to people by their surname. So it's like they refer to you by your family
name. It's meant to be more important.
Yeah. And then your first name is secondary.
In Spain, what we do for the second given name is that because we're still a Catholic country, if you want to get baptized, you need a Catholic name. So if your parents don't like any Catholic name and want to name you anything like, and sorry, this is a very bad example, but like Jonathan, that's gonna be your civil first name, but then they need to give you also a first Catholic name in order to get baptized. So you end up being like, I don't know, Jonathan, Julio, something. Then father's name, given name, mother's name. Sorry.
That makes sense.
So you end up with 4.
Yeah, that makes sense. Cool, cool. All right. Quick refresh of the chatties. That's fine. No problem. I actually learned something. Nice to see JP Page 2 who jumped in. Good to see you. Stephen Frey, who's there. Afternoon, synth heads, he says. Nothing wrong with having a synth for a head. You do get kind of weird looks walking down the street, though. You do. It's kind of... It's a bit like when we were putting that Synth Lord hat on us before last week. Yeah.
I answer. So Future World says, what's under the lights? My question is, which ones? Top ones or bottom ones? Blue ones or the white ones?
Oh, I'd say he means the bluey coloured ones, because that's kind of more dancing lights there.
Good.
Start with that. Anyway.
That's the slot for my Trinity, which is poorly, is going to the shop. Again, seriously, that thing is spent more time in the shop than being played by me, literally. So I just put the CT660 so I can have a little bit of fun with it on the system to see how bad does it keep up once it's plugged on the desk with the rest.
Oh, nice.
Remember that one?
Yes, very much so. Yes. Okay. Yeah, no, that's cool. Give people a little tour. I mean, you can just point at stuff and talk. Like, it's hard to sort of work out which hand to use, but you can give people a little tour while I just organise something here.
So, tour. Let's go for the rack. Obviously, top of everything. Oh, sorry, blinking light. Sorry, OCD. Yeah, top to bottom, mixer. The box on the left of the mixer is just Korg SQ1, 2-channel MIDI recorder, like in 2 tracks MIDI recorder. So you record one and then you bounce to the other and keep bouncing until your heart's content. DX11, you can barely see there if you got a screen big enough. Like in waiting for the, yep, this one, this level, black one. CT660 underneath. And my beloved P120, Yamaha P120 stage piano. It sounds awesome and it plays awesome. I just don't understand. And still a shame I'll have little pay for that. So, moving on, we go for the rack. Let's try to point properly. On top of my finger, JB880. Patch bay. This one is, give me a second. Yeah, that is the Alice's DM5 drum thingy. Still, this rack is not fully finished. I need a lot of cables that I just got in the corner waiting for case. I need to redo all this area, all the patching, so I can bring all the channels to the interface. So that was that. Alessis orange screen is going to be an Alessis data disk, I think it's called. Once again, I got it because it's cheap, and I thought it would be a hardware way to save patches and MIDI and presets and stuff. I still haven't had a chance to see if it actually works. So going down, green screen again. That's going to be, oh, my Motu, my MIDI interface. Underneath that, it's going to be my MU100R. And I don't think you can see it. So, yeah, that one is too dark. Okay, can I point? this, nope, there. This line here, this is my Korg 05R, remember that one? Here is where Axon 50 lives, basically guitar to MIDI converter. I wouldn't be able to do most of what I can without these ones. My Yamaha MIDI interface, UX256. Yep, UX256. Mostly because of the TG connections. I think I've talked many times, so I could explain again if you want me to. So the next two red screens here, FBO1s, set of 2, because 8 notes is not enough. So I got 16 notes. That was my first FM ever, so that's why I went all the way down. And down here, D110 Roland. So, anything you can see good on the desk. First half of my interface, 8 first pre Behringer, obviously. I can't afford any shit cheaper than that, because it can be paired with the ADAT units you have, the Behringer 8882.
That's actually a really good interface. So there's actually nothing wrong with that interface. It's a good interface.
I've been testing just because so I started doing 44.1 24-bit recording, and because at one point I learned that the Trinity only accepts digital on 48 kilohertz, I decided, let's just move the whole system, make the whole system 48, and that way I will never find accidents on compatibility things. Then I went to 48, 60, I think it's 64 floating beats, something. So basically the maximum it would give me in 48 kilohertz.
Yeah.
People would say I'm mental. I think I can hear the difference. It's way better, clearer.
Well, you definitely will hear the difference between 48 and 44. That's a definite. But the floating point, maybe. I mean, yeah, I guess where you will hear it is with very high frequencies. That's where you'll hear it, because you're like, if you have bell sounds with nice long tails, like long tail reverbs that have high pass filters on it or low pass filters or whatever, that's where you'll hear it. And I think you kind of, they're the general, I'm not saying that's where you only hear it, but they're the general places that you'll hear it. I kind of feel that your floating point is not so much a thing to sort of lose sleep over. I think 24-bit is going to be completely fine at 48K.
I mean, it's totally good enough, even more if you're just dealing with what I call, with synthesizers, which is line level. It's already quite within a small range of dynamics, and it's already very push forward. Like if I say compressed, I know I'm wrong, but sounds more compressed than a natural instrument or a natural voice or a natural guitar.
Yeah.
Not that much, but when you go to all the other ones I just excluded on the list, I can hear the difference, and I'm sticking to it. I tried going 96 with my previous interface with the Behringer, with my Steinberg, who can go 96 and 190 something.
192, yeah.
And at the time, I couldn't hear the difference. But this time with the Behringers, and all is to say that these Behringers, for the price, God, these guys know what they're doing.
I can't hear the difference between 48, 96 and 192. I can see the difference in what the computers are doing. Yeah. I can't hear the difference. I think where you'll notice it, like I think there's people that like to downsample or slow down a sample and things like that. That's actually kind of handy if you've got really high frequency samples, because then you've got room, you've got headroom in that. Look, my MX1 can do 96. I never have it set at 96. I've got it permanently set at 48, mainly because the the little media converter that I've got for the peak is at 48. And then also my Digiface is at 48. All the ADAT modules that I've got here are 48. I find it fine. In fact, when I submitted all my stuff for my last album that I just released, Significant Bit, I got some feedback from a rep that works for iTunes through the Apple Media section, and they said that it worked perfectly with their setup because they can do the lossless thing and everything that side. If you change the bit rate to a lower bit rate, it wouldn't have worked, like a 16-bit or something. I had it, I think, at either 24 or higher. I can't remember now. And 48K, say it was 24, 48K at 24, completely fine, and all your samples sound fine. And you do have a little bit of, like an octave lower or an octave higher with your samples if you want to down tune them or up tune them or anything like that. So I think you're fine.
By the way, I'm one of the many who listen to your album. I love it. It's really, really good.
Thanks, man.
Significant Bit. Really. No. Thank you, mate. That is beautiful. And sounds very good. My
Beautiful.
pleasure.
Thank you very much. Yes, this is the pre-show, Daniela. This is the early show. You are about 10 minutes early. Well, technically it's about 30 minutes early before we actually hit the real main show, but
Let's chat, which is gonna prove.
When does daylight saving start for you guys? Must be soon. Must be like about 3-4 weeks away, surely.
So,
when that happens,
I don't think there's much more to show, but I think I can still show a couple of other things. The thing I'm more interested to share is the only thing I'm not gonna be able to share because I don't have a camera there. Or probably give me a second. Get back to you. I'm gonna try to.
While you're doing that, I'm just gonna talk about a couple of other things before, and just sing out when you're ready. So the other thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about, this as in you guys who are watching, is I've got a whole bunch of stuff still sitting in cupboards here. I've got boutiques, and there's not many of them. There's probably four of them or 5 of them or something if you include the SEO2. And I've got some smaller sort of desktop module things like the TD3 and Blofeld. There's quite a lot of that sort of stuff. So what I want to do is I want to kind of set up a little tier stand for the boutiques, at least anyway. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to plumb them through the MX1 through the USB because you can. So I'll do that. Hopefully that'll be ready by next week if I can get the stand in. And with the other desktop modules, I've got something planned to do kind of here, in this spot here. I've already put one there. I've put the circuit monostation there. So I kind of want to work on doing that. I do want to put the Blofeld in. Now the Blofeld is interesting because it's multi-timbral and it will chew up all your MIDI channels. So I want to plumb that in kind of in some sort of separate MIDI setup so that it's not going to override anything. But Eddie's got something to show, so we'll cross over to Eddie. The Boss pedals.
Yeah, that's not exactly, but it's part of it. That's basically what I have under my desk on my feet. What I'm keen on showing. Give me a second. What makes this possible? So, can you see that little white box?
Yeah, what's that?
That is CV volume expression CV to MIDI, straight inside the box, 100% configurable, 4 inputs of it. And that's how, with my feet, I can control the volume of my synths while I'm playing, both hands.
Okay.
And it's, compared to the other solutions I found from other manufacturers, this is obviously the cheapest. That's why I have it. It was around $120 plus, obviously, shipment and import tax and all this stuff. It's come from a company called MIDI Expression.
Yeah.
and works perfect. It even can be used as setting up VST inside Cubase. It's ideal.
Flick me a link in Facebook later, and I'll bring up the page and we can have a closer look at it, because I can't really tell from that what I'm really looking at. It just looks like kind of looks like an Apple sort of kit thing. Just give me a sec. I'm just going to take my headphones off for 1 second. I just want to grab something from the other side of the studio, and I've got to take my headphones off to do it. 1 second. You can talk while you're at it.
So it's not much, but oh, hello. Well, people who it's first time here, behind me, wrong hand, behind me, it's
I'm back.
There. That's the pile of guitar pedal boards, basically, multi-effects, some box pedals, some of the, including the mixer case. And, here, right there, that Yamaha is my drum kit.
Nice.
CC55, I think it is.
Beautiful.
Very neat little thing. Really, if you need to input drums on a drumming way for little money, go for it. It doesn't have much dynamics. It's definitely not a TD, a Roland TD or any Yamaha DT Express. But for at least getting the human rhythm in it, the pads can be set to any MIDI node. It even has a MIDI general MIDI 128 sounds module inside that you can trigger externally. So that thing and a keyboard, and you're set for a gig. It's the more I learn about Yamaha products, the more I love them. It's like they give so much for so little. Try to get the same thing for Roland.
A couple of comments come through, and I just wanted to kind of bring those up. First one was Sasquatch. What the hell, Ranzee? You still have a blank wall space. What are you thinking? Yeah, I know. So I'm still working on. There's going to be Jasper stuff in that corner because I've got more keyboard synths to go up there. So that's what that's for. I've got an ESQ1 that needs a battery replaced. I've got a DX7. I've got a Korg M3. Quite a few synths to go back there. So that's what that's about. And what was the other comment? Yes, the other comment was, let's wait for it to refresh. ALL says, can anyone tell if Ranzee's ever messed with Teensy? Wow, what a great question, because that's not the right button, because this is the right button here. I'll just put your question back up again. I have messed with Teensy. So here's a little project. This is one of them that I've messed with. And, well, let me do a different camera for that, because it just doesn't look good from there. Just let me play with something here. There. And is it this one that goes upside down? This one. Okay, so this is it here. So nice and close up for you guys. So Hans Tech's the guy that's done it, and I'll just take this little backing plate off. So you can see there is the Teensy. Hans Tech's the guy that's come up with this. This is a little pocket operator MIDI adapter. Inside it is a Teensy. You've got MIDI on this side, and on this side it's powered by USB, and on that side you've got your 3.5mm connector for the pocket operator there, which does your sync. So inside, underneath this part here, is a Teensy processor. So that's one of a few things that I've been mucking around with. It's all 3D printed, that thing. I need to get onto having a look at that actually, so I can show you guys. Yeah, so there you go, Teensy. I have been mucking around with Teensy. Does that count? I would probably say though that if you were looking at what little mini computing platform I've used the most, probably Arduino and Raspberry Pi. Teensy is kind of more of a newer thing that I've been playing with. So I do kind of want, I'm going to talk about something a bit later on in the show that is related to small computing. So I don't want to talk about it now because it's biting the bullet too early. But yeah, so hang around for the news section and we'll have a little sort of crosstalk about small computing and what that can do for us. Now, I've just got a message. That's the link, is it?
Mm-hmm. There you have it.
Cool, cool, cool. All right, this is the little dongle thing that you were showing, right?
Yeah, well, it's this big.
Yeah, just waiting for it to
Anybody
go.
can do proportions in YouTube.
So the company is Audio Front, MIDI Expression. So these are pedal interfaces.
Yep.
Okay, so MIDI expression devices are class-compliant USB pedal interfaces. Pedal sensing technology built into each device automatically loads custom presets and variety of types of pedals are plugged in, allowing them to support a whole range of pedals with zero fuss. So
they really work.
So what is it saying? Like you can just unplug and plug in different pedals and it will know? Is that what
it will know? Yes.
How does it know that?
Don't ask me. I can show you the app. I cannot show you how. Well, I could make it. Okay, let me see.
Because your pedals are plugged via audio, right? So I just don't know how it would know.
Yeah. Well, no. You're not plugging audio. You're always plugging basically CV. The different pedals.
Okay,
they have different connectors.
Yeah,
PS or TRS.
Okay. Yep.
So that's the first giveaway. But then the way they react to the voltage that the unit sends through the connector on the handshake tells the unit, oh, this is a hi-hat pedal, or this is a stomp pedal, or this is a sustain pedal, or this is an expression pedal. And what type, if it's positive polarity or negative polarity.
So what sort of presets would you want to store on this thing? Like what's the benefit of that? Just give me sort of an example.
This project, okay, now everybody, you're going to laugh your asses off, but sorry, that's how naive I am. This project started because when I was learning about synthesizers in one video, obviously my, how to put it, I love Vangelis.
Yeah.
Right?
So we all do.
He's my idol, in a way. Well, some more, some less. I love him, like capitals. So I saw him, I learned that he can't read or write. So everything he ever did for film score, he played in one go.
Yeah, that's his technique. He didn't actually formally learn music either.
So he cannot tell anybody to write down, or he cannot tell anybody to make scores for him to read and perform. So
which is why he loves MIDI.
Oh yeah, and I saw one of his, not the latest because the video is quite old, probably mid of the run system he was using, apart from a console bigger than this room. He had expression pedals to control every single voice. And that's how he did it. Basically fade in and out the voices he wanted to be executing on the keyboards. Obviously, multiple keyboards. Silly me. I saw that and say, hey, can it be done on the chip? Because obviously his system was bespoke and made for him. And I start learning about MIDI, and I learned about this company. So what this thing is doing for me at the moment is just controlling the volume of all my hardware, my different hardware ones, including the ones in the rack.
Right.
So if I have a patch on my Moog who can be multi-routed and what's the name, transform the messages into all the messages, like in channel 1 transform into channel 5. Because that's another thing that I'm shocked. At the same level that I'm shocked there's no polyphonic aftertouch keyboards on the market, like in MIDI controllers, apart from the very, very expensive, like Seaboard or something like that. There's none of them. I was shocked that no MIDI controller can send on Omni, can send their playing on more than one channel at a time, 2 tops. And that's usually synthesizers that you can split and then they send 2 channels at a time, but that's it. That's your limit.
Yeah, because usually we see it at the other side, don't we? Usually we see the Omni setting as a receiving thing on a synth, as opposed to a controller actually sending Omni. Yeah, that's a good point. I wouldn't be.
But what do you do?
Wouldn't be surprised if we should investigate that a bit more.
Like me, I want from my master keyboard underneath the desk, I want to be able to play many of them. Like I like the synthetic brass in the DX11, but I want the piano in the P120, like in being as much as a gourmet for tones as I can afford. And I couldn't find a way. The closest way is the Motu that does the event transformation, I think it's called. So probably, sadly, my Motu doesn't work properly, so that's another headache.
Okay, so I actually have. I just had to process what I just heard from you for a second there, right? But I actually have a little solution for you that may. Okay, so it's going to solve the Omni situation, but it won't solve the polyphonic aftertouch situation because that's a physical piece of electronics.
I'm waiting for Behringer.
I mean, just get yourself an SQ80. Anyway, so what you can get yourself is. If you can afford to, get yourself an MRCC from Conductive Labs. The MRCC is that little MIDI router thing that I've got in the corner here on the rack. If you can't afford one of those, get yourself a MIDI Bro, MIDI Pow, MIDI Gal, that sort of, they're those MIDI toolkit type projects. I think there's a new one out by Bocus, which is like a more sort of MIDI tools in a box type thing. They have a whole bunch of MIDI utilities on board, and one of them is the Omni feature. So that will get you away. Now, not only that, but also, do you remember we showed on this show, might have been a couple of years ago now, the Retro Kits RTK006, that tiny little box, and it had 8 3.5mm sockets all around it, which was a 10 channel MIDI through box. That also has the Omni algorithm on it as well. So there's quite a lot that you could use.
All of that is on the list for when my Motu finally dies. Because at the moment it's just temperamental. It's crazy. I tested the battery for the memory, reads fine, but it doesn't hold the patches. Everything I configure, I have to reload everything every time I want to use it.
Well, we also have to say hello to other people that have joined us. Eddie, sorry.
Never mind.
Don't worry, they'll get to have a nice little formal hello when we start the show. Big hello to Darren, who is there, and Andy, who's there. Hi, gents. Do you want to test your mic out? Darren, do you want to introduce, just for those people who don't know, introduce your furry friend there, because I know who he is, but I just thought I'd call him a furry friend because he'll get angry with me then. I like the I like the mints that are in focus and everything's blurry.
Yeah. Oh, I'll bring them out of focus now. You can all see. See. I'll just bring them back out of focus.
Dave, just tell me if Darren's been good to you or not, mate. Because we were worried for a while, mate. Darren,
yes,
we were worried actually. We thought Darren might have been a bit rough on you and not letting you do a lot of stuff.
No, he's lost his voice because he's got this that I will show you at the start of the show.
Okay, cool. All right.
Okay.
So for those who don't know, this is Rave Dave, and Rave is actually the inaugural, life member of this channel. No one else is a life member, not even me. So only Dave gets it, and so he's like royalty really here. So you should hear some of his music. Top of the chart stuff. Sony calling, mate. Sony records are calling. They just don't know your mobile number. That's all. How's it going, Brooksy?
It will be when it's released.
Oh,
okay.
Hello. Am I coming through all right? Can you hear?
Yeah, it went a bit louder when you touched that thing.
Oh, what happened there?
It's okay now, but you touched something and it went. Okay.
Dave, what you doing, mate?
It was probably Dave. Now that you've removed,
Dave can actually smack you on the top of your head.
Oh, fair enough.
Oh, yes, he can.
That's probably it.
Oh, no, now you're too quiet. Andrea, please put it back.
No, I'm too quiet. Oh.
No, I think that's fine.
Right or not?
I think that's fine.
Okay, yeah. Well, then I'm deaf.
I've got to remember to do this, haven't I? I've got to remember to talk in it and not mumble.
Get intimate. Get intimate. Radio 12. Get intimate.
Just not too much.
Yeah. Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Ooh, mint.
We got a full house today.
Yeah.
Actually, we don't quite have a full house, because if you're ever wondering what would happen if I had more than 4 guests, this would actually happen. I would have 6 guests. So I can actually fit up to 6 in here.
Why don't you feed your studio there on the black window?
I could, yeah.
That would be a nice view.
Which one is the one that's missing? Number 3. Okay, we can do that. We can go Black Magic. I like a bit of Black Magic. There you go. Well, that's not a very good view.
Look at that.
Let's put the peak. Let's put peak cam. There you go. Peak cam.
Okay.
Or do you want Behringer Eurorack cam?
Nah. He's going down.
Yeah, that's nice.
That?
That's cool.
That?
I just like this multicolored spaghetti.
It's going to be all changed soon. Anyway, we are mucking around with stuff that we don't need to muck around. Hey, look, we've got everyone. And I don't even have a button to get to this thing. So, yeah. So if I ever have to come back to the screen, I'm going to have to use the mouse. Anyway, that's fine. I did a couple of things to the show software, and I want to try it out this week. It won't break the show, but I just don't know if I'm going to remember how to do it, and it might kind of be a bit tricky. But I'm just trying to make it a little bit easier for me. With my segments, I've got images that I need to show, and I've got links that I want to paste in chat, and I've got links that I want to show on the screen. So I'm kind of trying to work out a way of scripting all that. And the software that I use to stream is called vMix, and you can script in vMix. So I've played with it a little bit, so we'll see how we go. Ken reckons I should have a call-in. Yes, so we are going to be doing, I haven't got it set up yet, but soon, hopefully in the next few weeks, we're going to be doing vMix call-ins. And so it'll just be for those people who don't want to show their face. We can just have voice calls come in, and they can join the show and ask questions and then jump out, and someone else can come back in. So we'll do one at a time, sort of thing. So that's something that I'm going to try out in the next couple of weeks. We'll use Discord to do that because it's the easiest way. So we'll try that out. I've been talking about that for a little while now, but I've just been getting someone this end here to help me get that set up, so that's not quite ready yet. Yeah, we should probably get ready for the main show. I don't know if I like this view. It's a little busy. Rave is not talking because you're muted or something, Darren.
Am I muted?
Lost his voice.
Oh, no.
No, I'm not. No.
Lost his voice.
Nah, that's better.
Okay.
We'll do it this way. Anyway, we've got a fair bit of stuff happening in the show. Believe it or not, even though some of the other channels said there wasn't much news this week, I actually managed to find quite a bit to talk about this week for news. So if you guys missed out on the news, there's going to be news today, that's for sure, and it's all really, really cool stuff. Some of it is very heavily synth related, and some of it's lightly synth related. So that gives you something to scratch your head about. We've got regular segments, and also because of the illustrious Eddie below me here, we've got another episode of Name That Synth because he's amazing and he keeps doing it for us. Really enjoying doing that episode. I just wish I had more time to film, do one as well.
It's okay.
We should get Rave to do one, I reckon. I reckon he'd do a good job.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I might send my purple TD3 over to him. I reckon he'd love that.
Ooh.
Yeah. He would just you'd have to have a packet of tissues next to it. Anyway, right. on that major disappointment.
What, you mean like that, Rams? One of them.
Yes.
Yeah, like that. I mean, it's cold season. We get colds. We need to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes,
let off a bit of stuff. Yeah.
COVID countermeasures, that one.
I get you, mate.
Still there.
Speaking of weird things, this whole drumstick saga, the lollies, right? Drumsticks.
Oh, I am.
Mm-hmm.
They're everywhere here now. They're everywhere. What's going on? You started it, and then I found a packet.
I know.
And then all of a sudden, now they're everywhere. What's going on? The whole show needs to be sponsored by it.
I'll try and get in touch with them.
Get the Australian Swizzles Marketing Board.
Sorry, I missed that one.
We are going to hit this button here because this is the start of the show. Here we go.
Let's do it.
Yes, another show within a show. Yes, you've reached the main show. For those who have been sitting around patiently, give yourself a pat on the back. You've made it. You've made it. Well done. Excellent. Saturday, by the way, if you hadn't noticed, it has come around and it's that. God, it's quick, isn't it? Guys, how are we? How are we going this week? All good?
Yeah, okay. Not bad.
Let's start with you, matey. What have you been up to? How's your week been?
My week's been not too bad. It's all right. I'll get through the first things first. I'm releasing a track tomorrow. I'm not gonna dig it up too much because no one watches it otherwise. But it's just the sort of final one in the series of the 3 that I've done, which was One Life, Afterlife, and tomorrow will be You Are Life. And I might even just put them as a little EP and chuck them on Bandcamp so that you can all download it for free. For free, mind you. I'm not charging anything. Just so you've got a nice little... I might even put a bonus track on there, just so that people who do like that style of sort of thoughtful trance can download it. That was me, basically. I'm writing for the other stuff. And then this one here, he's lost his voice. Yes, he's lost his voice because he had this. Let's see if I can see if we can show it. Yeah, I don't know. Can we read that?
Oh wow!
What?
I will. I'll read it out to you if you want to. If anyone wants to know, this is confirmation of the signing of the artist Rave Dave. Yes, that's you. To the BB OTTB Records for a 2-album deal with the option to discuss future albums, EP, singles, and live performances. Rave will receive a 1-year supply per album of Parma Violets. Also, a 70-30 split in album sales. The use of a studio where knobs and or faders go to the maximum of 11. And ambient lighting will run various colours or various shades of purple.
Yep.
Further talks on future RD projects to be taken after the release of the first album, Violetly Purple. And that's the contract, or the confirmation of it. And that'll be the album when he releases it.
Fantastic.
So he's lost his voice. So that's basically why he's been running around with his headphones on, screaming, and he's lost his voice, haven't you? Yes. So it's going to be very hard hitting. Very. Oh, I'll when we get it out, we'll let you listen to little bits of it. So it's not for the faint-hearted. It'll be. It's very different to trancy stuff that I do anyway. So yes, that's been basically our week.
That's very, very cool.
Oh yeah, he says he's not staying for the whole show because he's still working on other tracks. So
sure,
he just started making appearances.
We won't keep you.
Fair enough. Well, it's good to have you, Rave. It's good to have you. It's good to have you, mate. We always love having you here. I'd high five you, but yeah, we'd be careful with that.
High five.
While we're at it, we should have, definitely say hello to Mr. Brooks over here. Hello, Brooksy. How's your week been?
I've got nothing to say after that. Really, I mean, what possibly can we say, other than actually?
Congratulations!
I think it was. Yeah, congratulations. Well done on your album deal. I'd just like to know in whose favour the 70-30 split is. You need to get your solicitors to sort that out. Your lawyer needs to get that clarified, because if you don't, you'll find yourself getting ripped off, mate. So, you might only find you've only got a third of a year.
He's getting Parma Violets, you don't care.
So,
yeah,
but he might not have enough to last the whole year at your, if you haven't clarified that properly. So just checking. I did see a great idea in the chat though, Darren, that the Mr. Wiggly's constantly looking for guests on a Sunday night, and I think Rave Dave definitely should appear on Mr. Wiggly's show. There are all sorts of reasons why that would work. So drop Mr. Wiggly a line. We'll get on that, because I think that would be very, very entertaining. I was just going to hit the giggles on that one. Poor Torben's just said aubergines for all.
Yes.
Yeah. Other than that, nothing to report. I had a crap week, feeling like death, and then the power went off at 5-1, and I'm thinking, oh what? A bloody power cut! I don't know. No. Every now and again, just at the end of this road, there's a railway tunnel, and they do works on the rail.
Oh, it looks like the power cut just in as well. Oh, look at him! He's all paused. Isn't it a beautiful thing? We have these remote controls here that we can pause people with them and make them go pause. Right now, Mr. Brooks, he's stuck in a loop. Dave, I just thought I'd show you something, mate. Just in celebration of your wonderfulness, I've decided to put the lights on purple in the room for you. So there's purple at the back there, purple over the Eurorack, just for you, buddy. We got you here, mate.
Change light.
We got you here.
Oh yeah, purple. Anything purple.
Hey, can't go wrong with purple.
Yeah.
In fact, you can check with him. I had a conversation with Mr. Grey Wolf, who's the manufacturer of Blue Arp, about making a purple case for the Blue Arp and renaming it to the Purple Arp. So this could be a thing, people. This could be a thing. We should while Andy's frozen, I hope nothing really bad's happened. I think his power might have actually gone out because he hasn't come back. And he hasn't said anything in the chat room either. Speaking of the chatties, big hello to all of you. It's really nice to have you all here. So we'll come back and we'll say hello to you. But before we do, why don't we say hello to this gentleman here, Mr. Eddie. Eddie, how's your week been?
Week off of work, which for everybody else but me is basically having a rest and doing nothing. I spent the whole week working on music-related stuff. Like I had to spend 4 days of programming my guitar player's pedal board 2 days, 3 days, in fact, filming. I got a couple of name that synth shows in the bank, so they're there. Just ask. And
Nice.
just chilling out for the last weekend before going back to the hell.
The hell is work, isn't it, mate? So at least it pays for the synths. Think about it that way.
Yes. Oh yeah.
It's your
That's why I
ticket.
do it.
It's your ticket to the synths. For those who are watching the chat room, you just saw Oleg or Grey Wolf 2004 in there. Confirm that we are doing a purple blue art box. Ooh. Mr. Brooks, now that you're back and you're not paused in like an infinite loop, and everyone actually was worried about you, continue to what you were saying.
I've forgotten. It seems to have no relevance. No, all I was saying was that I had a power cut at about 1 o'clock and thought, well, that's really inconvenient because obviously a power cut means nothing. Everything's off. And then about 1:30, the lights came back on. It's to do with the railway line at the end of the road when they're doing works. Apparently, every now and again, they have to cut the power. Usually we get notice of this, but I seem to have missed the notice. But there we are.
Oh. Well, at least you're okay.
So nothing really exciting. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's just a nuisance when it happens.
Yeah. How's it going with all the new stuff that you've been playing with that nicely?
Just a little bit of noodling and stuff. Nothing major. You know, I'm on a holiday now. I'm actually on half term, and my job this week is to actually write some bloody music. Get on with it and get some music composed, Andy.
Do it, matey.
So that's my target. 1 hour of school work a day, and as much music as I can squeeze in around everything else.
I noticed that you've got the Mellotrons too on the screen of your MPC.
Well, I know. I keep going back because it's involved in what I've sort of a little idea that I'm just playing about with. So
nicely.
And it's not well at the moment. It's just on flutes, but the actual sound that I've been working on is a sort of very. Actually, I have no idea. So I can call it up. Oh, how much wire have I got going? That one. Where's that one? Bloody loady bitch. Sorry. I have no idea if it's still come through or not.
Little hot.
Yeah, it was a little bit hot, but it was still came through.
So it should be quite. It's like taking the choir sound and just sort of distorting it and messing it about. So it's quite nasty and growly, particularly in the lower octaves. But I can't hear it because I've got my speakers switched off, so I don't get feedback through the microphone and la.
Yeah.
So I couldn't hear what.
It did work. Anyway. It did work.
Oh, right.
Nice. There you go. Unlike me yesterday, who was trying to show something on Discord, and it was just not working. It's a train wreck, that Discord thing. Anyway, we should probably get on with the show.
Don't say that. You keep encouraging people to be involved.
No. For doing things like live streaming and stuff, it's a train wreck. They haven't got that side of it set up at all. Okay, we are going to get stuck into all the segments. If you're new here, we do regular segments, and this is the first one. Funny side. Stranger things can happen, that's right, on the end of the internet where they have memes, yes. Starting with this one. This one struck a chord with me. Sorry, Reverb. Synthon Phoenix, 200,000 pounds. Yamaha CS80, 500,000 pounds. Yamaha DX1, 900,000 pounds. Electro Mono Machine, come on. You're having a lend, aren't you? Casio SK1, 10,000 with free postage. Geez.
500K already. Really? Is that how is it?
I think. Oh yeah. No. Someone's just put that together as a joke. I mean, it's quite funny because sometimes it does seem a bit like that.
And there's this one.
Again, I will actually.
This is like the internet that we know it, and the dark net below, right? So there's massive Nexus, Serum, Slender, Somnosphere, blah 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 blah, and then underneath you've got your rack, and FM synthesis. I don't know why VCV rack's there, but anyway, okay, fair enough. Phase distortion, come on, additive synthesis. Hey, they don't even have. Wow, there's a lot of things that they've missed out on putting there. I love the little faces down the right hand side. That's actually pretty cool.
Okay, I'm one level away from oblivion.
I tend to say frack quite a lot when I'm doing stuff.
What's
Yeah. Then there's this one. There are so many healing crystals. Oh, sorry, these are my healing crystals, I should say. What am I saying? Can't even read today. I don't believe in that nonsense, says the trendy guy. Then this bloke turns up and says, this vintage compressor costs $6,000, but anything you pass through it will instantly sound better. And they do. So, yes, very good.
The crystal's nice and purple.
Yes, Rave has some of those. And then you've got
the theme.
Then you've got someone who's like saying, come on, mate, you should do some music theory. You should do some. You've got, no thanks. I'm just going to turn on the arpeggiator.
True story.
No, it's the 960 sequencer. It's got his details wrong there. That's really... Sorry, that's really nerdy splitting hairs, isn't it?
Hard.
What was your favourite meme of the week?
Oh, the last
Well,
one.
funniest is the last one.
Anything with a Moog in it.
The Moog?
But the most shocking is the reverb one.
The reverb one, or the compressor? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a mistake though, Eddie.
Mr. House?
Yeah, but
what do you think?
Wait and see. It's gonna get
I'm going
true.
with the compressor. That's
gonna become true.
Or the arpeggiator one right at the end.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yes.
Possibly.
Like really, we're going too fast, too deep.
The thing is with these memes, right, is I see them in multiple places. And one of the most common places that you guys can find them is a great Facebook group called Synth Memes. And if you haven't joined it, Jim runs it. You guys have probably seen Jim on Sonic State before. So go check it out. But I actually tend to find them before they actually appear on there. And it's kind of funny because I get them off of other places. And then all of a sudden, there must be someone that's doing exactly the same thing as me. And they like posting them on Synth Memes just as quick. So it's pretty funny. Sometimes I do steal them off of Synth Memes too, because there's nothing better to do than just browse through Synth Memes all day long. Anyway, big hello to all you people from Synth Memes. We should roll the next stinger because we have another segment, and that's news. Oh, that's the old stinger. I haven't changed it. We'll just
give you time, Ranz.
We'll just leave the old stinger. We'll just leave the old stinger. Hey, what about this, guys? The F, hey? SP56 300 emulator. What is this? What is this? Okay, so let me tell you what this is. This is a open source project by a bunch of guys called the DSP56 3XX group. What is it? It's a chip. This is a chip that sits in a lot of hardware synthesizers, and you guys would have heard of these hardware synthesizers, like, for example, the Access Virus A, B, C, TI, the Klaviyo Nord, Lead, the Waldorf Q, the Microwave 2, the Novation Supernova, the Nova, and many others. And what is this project all about? Well, what these guys have done is they've made a virtual emulator of the actual processor. And lo and behold, you can drop the actual ROM from these synths into this, and it will play just like you own the hardware. And this is insane. So I think, without further ado, we are going to check out the first video of the day. And that is, where I get my mouse back. God help me. Here we go. So if you didn't believe me that this actually did exist, well, you're in for some luck, because over on the Macintosh over here, I actually have one set up. I did install the DSP 56300 on here. There it is there.
Hello.
And I managed to get myself, not so legally, a ROM of the Access Virus C. And you can see, bad the pun, you can see here's an Access Virus C. Now, what we need to do before we do anything is probably mute everything. Maybe just solo it, I think, would probably be the way to go, hey? Is that coming through?
Little quiet.
Okay, we can change the patch. It might just be the patch that's quiet. Now this ROM I just got off another website, so it's got nothing to do with these guys. And by the way, these guys really distance themselves from questions about where do I get a ROM from, because they know it's... But check it out. This is just a ROM that I grabbed, and it's got all the patches of an Access Virus C. Let's grab one. Let's go with Moonweed. That sounds like interesting. So mono patch. One of the things I want you guys to look at is, I don't know if you can see it, it's a little bit sort of hard to see, but on the top right hand corner you can see the CPU load. Very, very top right hand corner, just below the clock here, right? It's sitting at around about 9 or 10%. This thing is not even making it, it's running on Intel based, because it's an Intel based, I think they call it Darwin for Macs. Yeah, and you'll notice the interface is all kind of related to the virus. So that's how they've done it. Let's just get something kind of... Well, Brooksy, you liked choir, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, stick a choir on. A good choir is always
Let's
nice.
do a choir. And let's go through some of these screens that he's done. And I'm going to make this...
BC.
Let's make this a bit bigger so you guys can see it too. There we go. Is that better?
Mm-hmm. And a little louder, please.
Okay, I can make it louder. Just give me a sec.
Like that.
Hello, Brooksy. That was done in the key of C,
Sorry.
if you're wondering. Now, the interface here...
That's why I hit C.
The thing that's got me completely going bonkers about this, I've never been able to afford an Access Virus. Every time Access Viruses go for sale in Australia, they're insanely expensive secondhand. They're insanely expensive brand new. They don't make them anymore. And the whole Access Virus world for RANs has been completely unobtainable, because it's never really had the money to justify it. So this just gives us access to an Access Virus. I haven't tried any of the other ROMs yet. I have downloaded a Klaviyo Nord Lead 1, which I've managed to find, so I am going to try that later. But you've got access to things like LFO effects. The effects engine
See what you did there. See what you did there.
See what I did there.
See what you did there.
The effects engine is all built into the ROM of the Access Virus, so all of that DSP stuff is actually, part of it. So yeah, I'll just go back to us.
Wow.
What do you guys think of that as a moment?
Indeed.
Can you really properly explain it to me, Ranz? Because I'm stupid and don't get it.
Okay.
What you want to go out and get a chip?
No.
A ROM chip.
No. You just download a file.
The ROM chip?
You just download a file off the internet where someone has backed up the electrical image of a ROM, which is basically just binary data, right? It's just a block of binary data that sits there in a file, and then it's literally called a ROM file. Then you just put that in the folder where the VST sits, and it automatically picks it up and it emulates it. Now, emulators have been around for a long time. Emulators, the Mac has an emulator on it. The Silicon Macs have what they call the Rosetta emulator, which emulates Intel, so you can run Intel software on a Mac. There's things called, you guys would have heard of things called VMware and, you know, VirtualBox. There's all sorts of emulators that have been around for many, many years. So emulation is not a new thing. Roland's ACB technology in their synths is emulation hardware. So it's not a new thing. All this is basically just a little mini program that is emulating what the original Motorola 56300 chip used to do. And they've done an insane job. These guys have been, I actually think I showed this about 2 years ago, so they've been around for a while mucking around with this. So
can I stop you for 1 second? Because I just love to read what Wagoo's just put, right? It's like running a SNES game in SNES emulator from a .ROM file, but it's a synth firmware ROM in a hardware emulator, and various synths are based on them. I mean, Wags, right? Honestly,
SNES, Super Nintendo Entertainment System.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sure that made sense to people who know, but honestly, I'm the
That makes it so much clearer for Andy.
Never met. Sorry, it's such a lovely sentence, and I just, please.
I'll have to go grab.
Again.
Do you guys remember when I showed you guys the mini Commodore 64? Didn't you? Do you guys remember when I showed the tiny little Commodore 64 that I had? That's an emulator of the original Commodore 64 gaming computer from the 80s. I'll go and grab it later. You guys can have a look at it. So there's emulating been around for a long time. All it is what Wagoo said, all it is basically someone's downloaded the binary data that sits on a ROM file, because all synth ROMs are actually binary data. They have to be loaded on there somehow to use a computer and a ROM writer to load it onto the chip. So you get that file, and then you dump it into the folder where that VST sits. You've now got yourself an Access Virus C. You can also put Access Virus A.
I just couldn't cope with what was. You said you'd got a ROM. You see, to me that's like a little black thing with little pins coming out of it that's stuck in a circuit. But and I'm thinking, I don't know what I'd got I suppose the wrong end of the stick. So basically, it's a thing that you put something else in and it plays it. So that is a VST plugin, and you load a load of data in it, and it behaves like an Access Virus or a Nord lead or a whatever else you chuck in the data into that has this particular process.
Check this out.
I think I've worked it out now.
See that top file that's highlighted in blue there?
Yeah.
That is a .bin file. Similar to what you have to do with firmware. When you're putting firmware on synth, you might have come across this where you've got to put a bin file on a USB and plug it in, and it'll do a firmware update for you. So that is basically all of the Access Virus, all the patches, all of the synth engine, the effects, the arpeggiators, the LFOs, the oscillators, everything is all in that as binary data. That's what's called bin, because it stands for binary data. And there's the VST. It's in the same folder as the VST there. So I probably should have put it in a little subfolder, but yeah. I only just played around with it yesterday.
Can we go off on a tangent with this? A long time ago, I watched a video by Woody Piano Shack fella, where he was running an Atari ST version of Cubase in his. It was either a Mac or a PC. Don't remember which. So is this the same sort of thing?
Yeah.
Does anybody know if there is an ST emulator that will work on a PC, which
there is.
Work properly?
Yep, there is.
Because I'd quite fancy that.
There's even Atari STs with Cubase preloaded on it, emulators.
Yes.
So you literally just download a file and you just run it on your computer. I'll sort you out.
Find that?
I'll sort you out later. I'll show you how to find it.
I think that
Look at the shining in his eye.
Yep. Right. Before we go any further, I just thought I'd grab the website of this thing up.
Yes, please.
So if I go back to the news, there's the link to the website that I'm showing you there, dsp56300.wordpress.com, right? and I am going to just quickly show you that website there. So how you get this is you go to that website and you, how do you get rid of that annoying thing up there? Is that button there? It's off. Anyway, it's some technical stuff in here. So it's probably not the easiest thing to follow, but you literally go to the downloads part and you read this whole bunch of stuff here. If I can make it simple for you guys, you basically download the VST, which they have separated into your operating systems here. So you Windows person, you download this, whether you want a VST2 or VST3, Mac, same thing, Linux, same thing. Then, by the way, if you are with Linux, there's two different flavors. There's the DEB style, which is for the Debian style Linux operating systems. So things like Ubuntu, Debian, Mint, all that sort of Debian sort of based core. And then there's the RPM style, so Red Hat, that sort of stuff. So if you're Linux in the Linux world, once you've installed the VST, like I showed you before, then you go on the internet and search for access virus C-ROM, and one of the first websites will come up and you'll be able to download the ROM from there. It's just a zip file, unzip it, chuck it in the same folder as your VST, and you are, as they say in the proverbial classics, cooking with gas. Actually, you're cooking with an Access Virus C, actually. Just out of curiosity, I know, Eddie, you are a big digital synth lover. What are your thoughts of the Access Virus? Just irrespective of emulating or not, just what are your thoughts of it generally?
Sorry, I have no experience with it.
Mm-hmm. So what they are is they're a virtual analog synth, right?
Hello?
Yeah, we still got you.
I know what the guy who did the virus did afterwards. Basically, the Kemper profiler for guitar. And that product also raised a big storm in the guitar market when it got raised, even up to this day, for good reasons and bad reasons. Good reasons because it sounds awesome, bad reasons because it raised a lot of ethical issues for basically misusing of intellectual property, in a way of speaking.
Okay. We're kind of heading off on a tangent I don't want to kind of go down, if you don't mind. What we're trying to talk about here is just talking about the Access Virus.
Anything that brings hardware down to the masses that can afford or even find it. And according to this product, if you allow me, please, I have one question and one remark. Question: the video you played seemed like it was actually using the Virus DI editor software to communicate with the emulator?
Yep. So the answer to that question is once you load the ROM on the emulator, the ROM will respond to full MIDI sysx commands. So, for example, if you've got the VST for the original hardware version of the Access Virus, and I think it's called the Virus HSC, I think the name of the firmware, sorry, not the firmware, the VST, that it's like a controller VST. You can actually set that up on the same DAW as this emulator, and it will talk to each other, like as if you had the piece of hardware there.
Brand new patches.
Yep.
That is so cool.
Oh yeah.
And if it does the same with the Nord devices, wow.
It does it with Nord lead. Yep. Go for your remark.
The remark. If you could show again the VST on the first page.
Yeah.
Could you?
That.
It's coming. Sorry, not the website, the actual VST.
Oh, for mine?
I mean, it's silly, but it really touches a bone on me. That page, don't move it. It's already endearing that they draw the holes for the cooling fans.
Yep.
Even more endearing that they put the 5-pin DINs, but how cool is that they put the power socket? I love this GUI. I love it so much.
He probably wanted to put something down there. Didn't know what to put.
Yeah, probably.
Look, the guys that are doing this are absolutely geniuses. I do want to show you something quickly because it's related to your point. Sorry, I'm just on that website again, and I want to find it. There it is there. And give me a second. Just waiting for this page to load. If you're wondering, that's what it looks like currently. Here we go. This plugin here. This one, Virus HE. You can download this. At the moment, it costs money, but you can download the free demo version of this, and it still works. Mm-hmm. You can use this to hook into the emulator, and it will work as if you've got a full-on piece of hardware. So you've got all of those features in this. So I just wanted to show that as well. So that. By the way, that link is on that web page of the emulator, so you don't need to worry about getting links to that. You'll find that on the same web page. All right,
It's so cool.
Darren, you got a question about that? Or you good?
I'm good. No, I'm good. If you want a virus, there you go. Don't need to spend thousands of pounds on one.
That's exactly right. Why don't we go back
Can I just ask you, Ranz, about did you seem to drop a hint that the actual ROM code that you had was somehow dubious?
Well, it's not. There's nothing wrong with backing up a ROM if you own the synth. But if you don't have the synth and you've got hold of the ROM, then that could be scratch head moment questionable, right? So this is why these guys who made this emulator, they're distancing themselves from where do you get ROMs from. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I hope I've not just dubbed you in. Sorry.
I'm a big boy, I can handle it. I do want to get on to the next one. Now, I'm going to try my new thingo, my new little sexy button. I just press a button here and it should update the picture and the description. Oh, it's a thing of beauty. Look at that. So the next thing that we want to show you guys with the Sean Connery voice is Frequency Central's Cosmic Background. Yes, this is very sexy indeed. In fact, Cosmic Background is something that I've got a little video for you guys to watch. And I always never have it queued up. Yes, I do. Go. What this is, guys, this is a flexible analog drum voice that consists of 4 different sections. The core is a white noise source which can be deformed into percussive elements on 3 stages. Available now from Frequency Central, good UK company, £160 fully assembled, or you can buy it as a kit. DIY for £47.50. I reckon that's insanely good value. Yeah.
Ooh. Is that all?
It is all.
I was looking at Frequency Central this morning and I didn't see that.
Yep. Ooh. Like I said, I found the news. Why is it gone back there to that picture? There's an error. I found an error in my system. Right, what do you guys think of that? Frequency Central, Cosmic Background, Eurorack. Yes, it's all very sexy. There you go, there's the website if you're wondering. It does exist. It's on their website. 100% analog, fully modular, super flexible drum voice. Based on, what I like about this, if you're into electronics, it's based on the LM13700 chip, which makes it all the noisies and stuff like that on there. Mr. Brooks, you had a question.
I have a question. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was distracted by something else at that particular point, and so
Right,
there's
shiny
something
lights.
a bit strange, and I don't really understand. Sasquatch, I think she wants me to reply with my phone number because she wants to send me a synth. What? I didn't. No, I'm sorry. So that's all a bit too weird. Yeah. What am I talking about? This module. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's an interesting thing. When you said 168, I was thinking for that thing with all those modules in it. So it's just that one bit
No.
that costs £160.
No, just the one module. Yeah, this thing here.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a bit more realistic. So
Yeah.
yeah. Well, it sounds interesting. I'd like it to sound a bit more dirty and grunty. But
yeah,
I suppose that's if you play about with it, it probably will do.
if you want to kind of sort of think about this in a sort of sensible way, which is very hard for me, I'll put you up there, Brooksy. Basically, a lot of the analog drum sounds are based on noise. Sometimes they're based on like an oscillator, but in this, a lot of them are based on noise. And then if you've got some sort of VCF with ways to attenuate like a low pass gate or something, you know what I mean? Like then you can start getting your plucky sort of high sort of envelope sort of gear. That's kind of what this works with, but they also are using VCAs to create like that sort of overdriven noise sound as well. So it's kind of like, I don't know, it's like it's a play on noise but with VCFs and VCAs, because as you know with the VCF you can also create sine waves, and you know it's just another sort of thing. Like the Basilius range of modules is based on noise as well as FM. So, you know, this is kind of a different take. I just kind of find this stuff pretty interesting anyway. I just thought I'd show you guys. Yeah, that's that.
There's some really interesting bits on that frequency central side. I think, that looks good. Oh, that looks interesting. But that's the same on any of these sort of modular outlets. There's always something you think, oh, that looks, ooh. So yeah, I hadn't actually looked at that particular one. So
Really cool.
Yeah, it is cool. All right.
Plus, it's you're talking basically it's a whole synth voice, because VCO, VCF, and VCA in one single unit. My only confusion is in the video is showing 3 units, and those are the 3 rhythms that are playing. Is that right?
I think in the video he had, let's go back to the video. He had,
I saw one black unit, one white unit, one red unit.
let's not go back to the video. What the hell was that?
Is that what happens if you use that?
Oh my God, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
there's a meme in there somewhere, Ranz.
Hang on.
Oh.
What have you been plugging
by
your
the way-
C-bum with?
By the way, guys, just to clarify, I'm getting a delay on my video feed. It's like 2 seconds behind the audio.
Yeah. Nothing I can do here. I am getting my voice back through you though.
Just letting you know.
He has got, in this video, he has got 1, 2, 3 of those drum modules together, and you'll notice that they've got a black set of knobs, a white set of knobs, and a red set of knobs. By the way, when you build this thing, you can actually ask him to build it with different coloured knobs. And then he's got some other frequency central modules on the right-hand side. So basically, most of that is pretty much just that one module times 3.
Yeah. That sounds good. And that's the type of drums I love.
Yeah, like sort of mangly, sort of Uraraki type drums. I like that sort of stuff right now. I've got quite a few of those little modules now. Yeah, another one that's not going to hurt, that's for sure. Anyway, we need to go over to here. I've managed to
get it. Why?
managed to get the image to go back to where it's supposed to go. The next thing on the news is Teenage Engineering doing DIY modular. I like this sort of stuff. I do have a little video for this one as well lined up. I don't know. This one's very quick, so we'll just go straight to it. This just shows Lego and... That's pretty clever, isn't it? I like that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But more seriously, if you are interested in this DIY modular stuff, there is a website on it, which I did show you the link to before, and I'll bring it up again. It's part of the Teenage Engineering's website, and there's a whole bunch of modular experiments that they show in here. It marks the release of the individual POM modules, and they've put 3 DIY projects for you to muck around with. This one in the middle looks pretty cool, doesn't it? The square box. So it's very, very interesting, that one. Yeah.
Question. Because every time I look in, or I hear, Teenage Engineering has released DIY things, and then I look into it, it's like, yeah, you basically only have to do them in place. There's not much to DIY on it. It's like, so what it's done, it's just assembly it or just put the batteries on.
I'm having trouble hearing you. I don't know what happened there. You went all really kind of like you were talking down a pipe.
Okay, hello?
Yep. Yeah, say that question again. So whenever you see it, that's where it stopped.
How much soldering, for instance, do you have to do in these ones? Because Teenage Engineering is basically, we just give you the whole assembly thing just without a case, and off you go. It's not really DIY, I think. How much is this? How different is this one?
So we'd have to go and look at each of the little projects to see. Some of them would probably be, like you said, soldering and stuff. Don't be scared of soldering, by the way. It's not that bad.
I love soldering. That's what I mean. I want the soldering ones.
I'd say it's probably not much soldering. One of the projects includes the square box. It's the POM 400 kit, which I'll show you in a sec. Together, panels from an odd vault to create a complete Eurorack system. Dub siren, a siren effects box with an LFO, a square module, and a power supply unit, and a mechanical LFO, which features the Lego robot that you saw in the video to work as a mechanical LFO. So, I mean, look, this thing's, great. But anyway, individual POM 1 barebone modules are available now. Most modules are priced around $30 each, not for the whole thing, so be careful. It will add up pretty quickly. I just want to quickly go back to here because this is kind of mechanical LFO there. We saw that video. So, yeah. And there's some more information on there. I'll just go back to here, and I don't know why it does that. It's annoying. I'm going to have to fix that. Just
when it shows the module, the one in the synthesis is like already assembled. There's nothing to do to it. It's talking about the complementary cases or experiments or faceplates, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Check out that link and then go and explore it yourself, and then you'll find the answers in there because there's a whole bunch of links that will take you further away. Yep. So I just thought I'd show you guys that because I know some people who watch this show are interested in all that sort of tinkering. We'll call it tinkering. So this brings up a point. Before we go on to the last bit of news segment, this brings up a point. We just showed the Teenage Engineering stuff, which has had Lego moving, an LFO moving, you know what I mean? That was a bit of mechanical engineering. And before we had that other thing, which was the emulator, which had the Access virus on it. So can we do some sort of cool stuff with little small type computers like these things? Like these are Teensies. This is an example of a Teensy project that I've got, which actually is related to Teenage Engineering because what this project does is it actually gives you MIDI to, where's the other one? Sync. MIDI to sync. There's the sync there, sorry. So you can actually plug your MIDI synth in, keep losing my bearings there. Plug the MIDI synth into there and then you sync it to your Teenage Engineering pocket operator there. That is a teensy project. So it's kind of, it's been around, I talked about it a while ago on the show, but can you put the VST, the DSP 56300 emulator on a smaller, like not an Arduino, but like a little Raspberry Pi? Would it run on a Raspberry Pi? Probably would. Do you see where I'm going with it? So then you could put that VST on a Raspberry Pi and have that using a VST host bit of software on your Raspberry Pi, have some MIDI ports plugged around, make a little box around it, power it with USB, and all of a sudden now you've got an access virus in a little box. That's an idea. I mean, people are talking about it on the forums of that project, for example. So this is where this sort of stuff can head.
It looks great.
Yeah. Yep. So, any thoughts about that?
Andrew?
Teensies or Raspberry Pis?
Well, I have an unrelated
that
thought
side of
about that.
it.
Go with Darren first. Sorry, I don't know who was first.
Please.
No, I forgot what I was going to say then. I completely lost my track. I think I was going to. No, you'll have to. Yeah, I've completely lost track what I was going to say then.
All right, no worries. Go with Eddie.
Talking about what we can do with this, how is the technical world? Microprocessors, or I think there's a technical name for this one computer in one chip things.
Mm-hmm.
Because the rest of the board is just to make that chip communicate with hardware. That's at least that's what I understand. Like,
yeah. So Raspberry Pis have USBs, they have HDMI ports, they have audio ports, they have everything there that you need. MIDI not no, but you can just plug a USB MIDI host thing into it, so you've got MIDI then, and then all you need to do is load the software on.
Yeah,
so it's doable.
Like, and in my head, the way I explain it to myself, and sorry to be this simplistic, is all because of cell phones, mobile phones, because those processors, the CPUs in those things are getting scary, powerful, small.
Yeah, the technology development, you're right, is cell phone driven. I mean, like the latest iPhone is pretty powerful, probably more powerful than most people's older computers.
Well, they're more powerful than my 2-3 old computers. Trust me, my cell phone is kicking sometimes even my new computer's ass in some subjects. It's really scary.
Which is why Apple that's why they went to the M1, because they actually found that they got better performance out of an ARM processor than they did out of Intel. So Intel will just kind of just regurgitating the same base code CPU each year, making it slightly faster, slightly, whatever it was, and it always had issues with, they got extremely hot, and then like Apple just said, look, enough of this crap. We will change our CPUs. Yeah. No, you're right. Absolutely.
So that leads me to probably a scarier thought. Because once again, I know I'm wrong. I know this is totally not the truth, but all the new synthesizers, and when I'm talking synthesizers, I'm talking keyboards.
Yep.
That are coming into the market. They seem to me, or they feel to me, like basically it's a computer with a MIDI controller. Like the guts inside is all one of those maxed out chipsets with a lot of sample ROM in ROM chips and just MIDI capabilities to communicate. That's how they all. And every new generation is just not the same synth better in a way. It's the same synth plus another layer of another synth on top, and another synth on top, and another synth on top. So if we go the route of the cell phone CPUs, can we just get down? Well, obviously not, because digitally controlled. We could get like actual chips of every single famous digital synthesizer in one chip. You can have all the engines in one single 76 key ring. And going even crazier than that, it's like had this revelation. Sorry for the drift. Had this revelation that the future of synthesizers is not going analog, is not going digital, is not going one particular flavor. It's basically getting the synthesizer that can recreate any sound you ask him to do, but on an AI interface.
Mm-hmm. It'll happen.
And we're
it'll
we're
happen.
not that far away from that.
It'll happen, but what's got to happen first is you got to look at a few things, like the reality of processing. And by the way, I'm hearing myself through. I'm just going to mute you for a sec. The reality of processing power is it's kind of one of those things where people want to do things more than what systems are capable of doing that's accessible by general population. So, for example, with the Roland's System 8 synthesizer, the ACB technology that's in that is insanely highly processing, computing craziness. The reason why that synth only ever had 8 voices is because Roland wanted to have enough headroom in the synth to be able to handle all the DSP effects that the processor also has to handle, and anything else that is related to managing the sequences and arpeggiators and all the other things that little system has to do. So the little boutiques would only have 4 voices because they used a smaller processor on that at the time. So with those, if you look at running, like for example, Roland System 8 ACB VSTs on your PC, you'll see the CPU goes through the roof. It's crazy how much processing power it actually chews up. So those hardware synths have got really powerful processors on them. I don't think you're going to see emulators get anywhere close to those in the near future, but you'll be able to see that happen maybe 10, 15 years in the future, because if you think about like the Access Virus C, how long ago was that? Was that pre-2010? So we're talking more than 12 years, maybe 15 years ago when that came out. The early model Access viruses were late 90s, early 2000s, so A and B. So, anything that kind of had that processing power back then, we're more than capable of emulating that now on a standard computer.
Yeah, but that's my point. Cell phones are making those chipsets cheaper and cheaper, faster and faster, mightier and mightier. Who says that in 3 generations, next Roland System 16 won't have 4 of those chips? 204 voices each.
Yeah. By the way, every time you talk, you kind of it sort of disappears down the pipe and then comes back out again. So we have to see what's causing that. I'm not sure what it is. It might be a connection thing. I don't think it's your setup there. It just might be a connection thing. We need to move on.
I'm looking now. Yeah, go ahead.
We do need to.
I think it's some software.
Yeah, we need to move on.
I'm gonna go out for a second.
Yeah, go for it. The last thing I want to show you guys is this, which is the news about Superbooth 2022. Already I felt like we just talked about Superbooth last year, like it just comes around so quick. Superbooth 2022, it's around the 12th to the 14th of May in Berlin. Hello to all my German followers and viewers. I would love to go to this thing, but I don't know if we're going to be allowed to again where I live. I would just so love to go to this thing. This is like probably the event that I would, blow money silly on just to go to it. It's good to see all these really usual people that you see here, like Sonic State and those sort of guys sort of sponsoring this. It'll be really, really cool to see the videos that Nick and the gang put out because they'll be there. Nick was talking about on his show on Wednesday. But if you do want to book yourself in, there is a link, and I don't know if this is going to work. Every time I do this, it's going to fail. So let's try. No, it failed. Okay, there is not the link. there's the link to Super Booth, but it's the wrong picture. I've got to sort something out there. I don't know. There's something wrong with my little algorithm. Let me get the Super Booth picture up. There we go. So there's the link to Super Booth on your screen. You can go visit the website, and from there you can actually book your tickets now. And I do suggest you book them now if you're planning on going to this, because they do sell out, and they will be probably like last time. They will probably be limiting the amount of people that can attend this event for COVID reasons, of course. Any one of you guys want to go to Super Booth?
Would love to.
Rooksy? Yeah?
Yeah, but God,
I think it's at the wrong time.
It's during school, isn't it? That time of the year.
Well, it's over a weekend, I think. But
yeah,
thought of just I suppose it is doable. But flying to Berlin, going to a show, and then flying back again. I mean, I know it's all entirely possible, but I'm not sure that I'm really up for it after a week of work.
What is it? What is it? A 4-hour, 3-hour flight? What is it? I've never done it, so I don't know.
Yeah, about 2 hours from Britain to Berlin.
Okay,
that's a little longer.
And how long for the train?
I mean, depends where you're flying from.
No, the train.
I'd probably just drive to the airport.
If you caught a train from London to Berlin, how long would that take?
Oh, longer. Yeah, longer.
Okay. I assume that, but I thought you might have
down to, through the
Because I just remember that last year there were some guys from the UK that caught the train. I don't know if they caught the train all the way from London or not, but I remember them saying there was
you could do it. I mean,
7 hours or 10 hours or something.
Yeah, probably Eurostar to Paris, and then from Paris to Berlin is we'll probably do, but it's quite a distance.
Easy just to fly.
Yeah, it would be easy just to fly to Berlin and then get the tube or the tram or whatever. What's the easiest way? Do they have trams in Berlin? Not sure they do. Can't remember. Of course they do. Silly man. Of course they do. Yeah.
Well, I mean, for me, I've never been to Berlin. I've been to Germany, but not to Berlin. So that would be a. I would definitely have to do something.
Translate everything.
Yeah, exactly. We'll have to work something out anyway. Maybe something magic might happen, and I might end up being able to go there. At the moment, where I live in my country, we are banned from, unless we've got an approved thing to do, we're banned from actually leaving our state where we live. Like if it's just to sort of go on a jolly overseas, it's not going to happen.
Well, they're about to chuck everything out the window now, aren't they? Say there are no restrictions. You can do what you like.
We'll see.
That's imminent. Yeah, I mean that's here in Britain.
Yeah, well, not far off that now. So we're all immune to it. Doing what they like anyway.
Well, that's it.
And if you do go, I guess you've got to be prepared to get COVID, don't you? That's one of the things. If you do go, there's a very, very good chance that you'll probably catch COVID, and you'll come back and you'll have to isolate yourself and all that sort of rubbish. So, yeah, you'll have to plan all that in. Anyway, let us know in chat if you're going to Super Booth too. All the chatties, we forgot about them. 8 hours says, I sing the body electric. That's a great username, that one. So there you go.
We must have a song.
Wifey got my Super Booth tickets for my birthday in 2020, says Rabid Bat. That'd be pretty cool. But 2020 was cancelled, wasn't it? Was 2020 the one that was cancelled? They definitely did it last year. I don't know, I forget. Anyway, that is it for the news. Told you we had news. See? It was interesting. I thought it was interesting. You just got to dig if you want to find news. But what about this segment? This one. And just like every week, we do have fantastic things to show you. Like, for example, this. Yes, what is this? What is this indeed? Indeed. Let me just go like this to make it bigger for you guys. What is this, Mr. Brooks? Please tell us what this is.
That is just about the worst piece of crap ever made. And it's from Korg, which is always a surprise. and it's not worth
tongue-in-cheek.
not worth threepence halfpenny of anybody's money, let alone €165. And I part exchanged my Tysco 60F for one of those in the dim and distant past,
Oh my God.
which is why every time I see one of those, it causes me such great pain.
Yeah.
That is utter bilge, not worth it.
Razor
Which,
blades.
of course, means there'll be loads of people out there that love it.
That's got razor blades.
I think Florian Pilz did a bad gear thing on it. It's just
Did Alex Bold also
irretrievably
feature
bad.
it?
Was it?
Yeah.
Was it Alex? Yeah. Was
Yeah,
Alex
I saw
Ball?
Alex's. Yeah.
It was one of those. It's just crap.
But anything
Basically,
Alex
don't go
does, he
anywhere
makes
near it.
sound good, though, doesn't he? He's
Well,
a
that's
champion.
because
Like
Alex-
that.
Didn't
great.
he agree with Andrew? I think he agreed that it was really bad.
Anyone in chat got one of these?
Excuse me.
Let us know in chat if you've got one. The Korg DDM 110. I can't remember that. I mean, these are 84. These are analog, aren't they? These.
No, it's digital.
It is
It's
digital, is it?
and it doesn't have MIDI. Its sync option is
What?
48 ppq DIN sync. It's just hopeless. It's just hopeless. Don't touch it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if
what the thing is for.
Andy Synthetics got one. It'd be sort of thing he'd have lying around in his dungeon there.
Well, I mean, just for curiosity's
Probably
sake,
propping it
really,
all.
it's got there's nothing worthwhile about it at all. I mean, when you think just shortly after that, Roland released the TR505, the TR626, miles better drum machines
Yeah.
with MIDI. That is just, and of
All
course
right.
it hurts me because my
Yeah.
60F went for one of those.
It's got razor blades.
I hurt.
Okay, what about this
Yeah.
one? This one also came from you, Mr. Brooks. You want to tell us a bit about this?
Yeah, but that's the opposite. That's the opposite end of the spectrum. I mean, if I really needed one, I'd be putting in a bid right now. I mean, that's a CS01. It's basically the same sort of voicing as the Yamaha CS5, which isn't the greatest synth on the planet, but nice enough. And it is analog. So 78 quid for one of those, I think, was a real bargain. I've no idea if it's still available or not, but I don't need one of those, or else I'd have put in a little bid. It might be something I regret in 10 years' time when they're worth £5,500. Sorry, Andy.
Andy's actually
Don't worry.
Andy Synthetics jumped in the chat and he said he actually has a broken one of the Korg drum machines.
Don't fix it.
Yeah, don't fix it. Mr. Brooks, this particular CS1, I could have grabbed one the other day for I think it was quite a lot more money than that. So if that's still around,
I'm surprised it was as cheap as that.
I would be jumping on that if that's still around. That's a pretty decent one. So yeah, thanks for the contributions there. They were really good. I think the CS1 that I looked at was about 600 Aussie, which is about £300. So there you go. You could probably make a small little profit turning that over. Speaking of Andy Synthetic, he also provides me with lots of these to show. I thought that was actually quite timely because we had the Korg razor blade drum machine before, and then Roland brings, the 808 out. They bring their 808, but yeah, 909. I probably would say the 909 slightly. I like it slightly more than the 808. I don't know why. Maybe it was because of the 90s dance scene. I don't know, techno scene.
Oh yeah,
probably that. So is this one digital?
This is US dollars. This is available.
It's a hybrid.
From
okay.
It's got some analog stuff and some digital stuff in it. It's got the famous recorded hi-hats. Roland did a video on this a few years ago when they were doing the ACB stuff. They actually showed how they recorded it. But if you don't like that sort of beige coloured baby poo, I don't know what you call it, you can get yourself a black one, and it's even cheaper.
Oh,
look at that!
Oh my god!
I actually think the black looks nice.
That actually looks cool.
It does.
I think the beige one looks nice.
Yeah,
but then again, I've got all sorts of associations.
Yeah.
Oh.
Except for when the bromide turns brown.
I saw a vision.
Mm.
Is that a CS60 behind it?
It is a
that a
CS. It is.
CS,
yeah, I
is it
can't
an
tell.
80?
It's not.
Is that CS80?
It looks like an 8.
I don't know.
And the one on the right.
Has it got two rows? Where's Kent when you need him?
Yeah, can't tell.
That's a CSH on the right, yeah.
What are they saying in the chat? Got some people saying, got an RD9 or get an RD9. Yeah, I'm getting an RD9. I'm just
As well.
got to wait. I've got a few other things I want to buy before I can spend money on it. I don't really need it. I've got a TR8 that does TR909 sounds. It sounds fine. So I don't really need it. Yep, beautiful.
Good look.
That is it for Price Watch.
Are you getting an RD9 for the looks and the nostalgia, or are you getting it for the sound, like you say? Because a lot of stuff sounds, you can get it just to sound the same anyway.
The RD9 itself has got some really kind of clever, like Behringer have done some, I've talked about this before. When they made the first one, they kind of went, oops, no, we're not going to send that out to the public because we kind of want to have a little think about this. So there's kind of like, there's two flavors of the TR909 in there. There's kind of like the traditional one, which is modeled after the Roland, and then they've got this kind of modern take on it. So you've got some mangling of the sounds as well as the way the sequencer works. It's kind of cool. So I was talking to a guy who you guys probably know. He's a DJ type producer. His name's Kink. He lives in Europe. Tours over the US, and that he got one about a month ago, and he's loving it. He absolutely loves it. So just based on what he was saying to me, what it does, it's kind of almost sold me. I want to go try one out in the store. There's one in the local store down here. So just to see before I make that final decision. But yeah. One of the things is I've got the original RD8 from Behringer, which is not the Mark II they've re-released, but the Mark I, and they didn't quite get the kick drum right on that. So I just hope they're not going to do that sort of shit again with this one, because that sort of stuff annoys me. That, whoops, we better bring out another model. Like, they're not the only company that's done it too. Like, yeah, that sort of stuff annoys me. Luckily for me, though, I only paid like $300 for mine, so it was pretty cheap, which is only £150. Yes, Mr. Wiggly. What did I press that button for? That's the wrong button. There we go. I did see Jim on Mr. Wiggly's show the other day, so big shout out to Jim. Nice to see him on there. Dizzy Heights. He's never invited me on. I'm actually really sad. Like, I never get invited on any show. I must be hated. I'm just kidding.
Talk about dropping a hint there, Franz.
No, I can't go on any show. It's like 2 in the here. It's
3
impossible. Don't worry. We've actually spoken about it. Don't worry. We're only joking. No, it's really, really hard for me to go on those shows because it's the wrong time of the day for me. I'd have to get up. I did it a couple of times. I did it once with Jamie, who's Geosynths, and I've done it with ProSynth Network, and it literally just screws the whole day up for me.
Yeah, it will do.
Like, it's like right at the wrong time. You know, when you guys go to sleep, like 2 or 3 in the morning is probably when your body hits the deep sleep stage. It's like that worst possible time for it to be. It's like you can't go to bed before and you can't go to bed after. Like, it's killer. I know, Dom. I know. We've already talked about it, so I was only joking.
No, it's my own life. It was.
Okay.
Don't be mean.
Sorry.
People don't understand Australian sarcasm. It's one of those things.
Well, and they're actually missing because they're finding it really, really fun. Much fun.
Speaking of Sonic State, I'm probably going to be on Sonic State again soon, guys.
Saying the op.
Just letting you know.
Okay, you.
Yeah. Just let us know how soon.
Whenever Nick decides to let me on again. But it's been discussed. Okay.
Now that is Dizzy Heights.
I probably could have made it to the end of
really
Kent's.
Dizzy Heights.
Kent's show was like, it was a mammoth thing, wasn't it? 8 hours or something.
Yeah. You could have got up
I'm still
Sat there
trying
in
to
your
finish the
pajamas.
first
I was in
one.
my pajamas before I went to bed.
Yeah, I could have. I definitely could have. Sorry, someone sent me a message.
They are really good fun. They're a lot of fun. They are just very funny. It's just because just sitting around talking just nonsense, really.
Yeah.
It's really quite good. It
was-
really
it
is
was
quite
good.
good fun. That.
It was, yes. Okay, now there was something else that I wanted to sort of talk to you before we go into the next segment, and that is hashtag FFS. Yes.
Oh yes, please. What's going on?
There's a couple of things going on with this. What I might do first is get a link. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show this.
I don't think anybody watched mine.
But actually, Brooksy was talking about this guy earlier. So
Today I'm going to tell you
we're gonna go and have a little talk to Woody. Big hello, Woody.
Hello.
the incredible story about a copyright claim on my Roland D20 synthesizer video, the legendary Roland D50 sound designer, and a Bengali pop star from Calcutta.
So I do want you guys to go check out that video. I can't actually show you the whole thing. I'm going to paste it into the chat now, so you guys can go check that out. If you're not a subscriber of Woody's Piano Shack, shame on you. You should be. He's had a great channel for a long time. He lives in Sweden, by the way. Nice English gentleman living in Sweden. He's lived there for a long time, actually. Anyway, so he goes on, JX3D actually, big thanks for him for pointing this out to me. He goes on to talk about how he actually got a copyright claim against just a standard Roland D50 sound. It's comical to watch, so go check that out. Big shout out to Woody if you are watching. But I thought it was a good segue to talk about hashtag FFS. And I do believe during the week we've had a couple that have come out. And I think
Did I got this right?
A guy called Paul Sonic got one, which we'll grab the video to have a look at that.
Are they getting copyright stricken for the sound, not even the music, just the tone they're using? Is that right?
Yeah, the algorithm picks them up on this. All right.
Kidding.
So this is Paul Sonic's video, and he gets a copyright strike for using, lo and behold, Behringer 2500 modules.
And some others. Yeah.
And I'm not going to play it because I will also get a copyright strike. But he literally just feeds that filter, the resonant filter, and away he goes. Copyright strike. Copyright claim, I should say. And he hashtagged FFS22 on his video too, so big shout out to Paul Sonic. So thanks very much for doing that. What I should do while we are at it is just show you guys just how...
How big is his channel?
I'll show you that in a sec. Just insane how insane this stuff is, right? So these are the Behringer modules that he used the same. I've got them here. He used the 1047, the resonant filter, which is, I have to lift this whole skiff up, but that one there. That is a very resonant-y sounding filter. I think we've shown it before on the show. Literally, there is absolutely no way in the world that you could claim copyright on this sort of rubbish. It just does my head in. How many subscribers have you got?
You still can claim it. It's just
375 subscribers. That's all right. It's not bad. Wigoo's already he got hit with 2 claims actually. Wigoo's already commented on his video. I will link now that video into the channel chat. Sorry, I've just got to get back to the tab.
Yeah, that must be mine. Don't even raise a brow because I got 0 subscribers.
Oh, don't worry about that.
It's like we small channels, we can get away with anything. It's just they go after the big ones.
I actually don't get the whole subscriber thing, to be honest. Like, yeah, I really don't think it is really related at all to.
I think it's related to monetization.
It's more important. It isn't actually. There's no. it might be related to the algorithm, but there's absolutely nothing related at all for subscriber count to monetization, because its monetization is based on the views and how long people stay watching your videos.
And subscribers now.
Well, subscribers is a weird thing, because subscribers is basically people that say, I want you to be in my YouTube feed. That's really all it is. Yeah. So when I click on the YouTube homepage, anyone that I've subscribed to, or if I go to the YouTube subscriber page, it'll show all the videos based on that. But really, at the end of the day, like this social media, if you're connected to people via social media, there's probably no need for you to subscribe to someone's YouTube channel, because you're going to see them post the links to their videos on the social media anyway. I just kind of feel.
What's the word?
I just kind of feel that, like for example, with my channel, I probably don't have. With the people that are watching this right now, probably maybe about 30% of them haven't subscribed. So, and they probably watch it regularly. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not a blight on them. It's just a weird thing that we kind of, as YouTubers, we kind of think, looking at the subscriber count. I actually haven't looked at my subscriber count for, I don't know, maybe a year and a half. I just really don't care about it anymore. It's not important to me. What's important to me
I'm going to look at.
What's important to me is what people tell me, the feedback that I get from, am I doing great? Am I doing bad? I do get regular feedback from lots of different people. That's more important to me than subscriber counts and things, so. If you've got 300 subscribers, and those 300 subscribers are all real people that absolutely love your videos, that's better than having 100,000 subscribers and only really 300 of them are real people that love your videos. Do you know what I mean? There's no difference.
My point is, because I'm looking into the conditions they ask me to be able to monetize is to have 1,000 subscribers and 10,000 watched hours of content. So that's what I mean, that the algorithm might be disconnected for anybody underneath that.
It's basically
about a case that is not.
But it's basically a safety net that YouTube had to put in, and really that's the only thing the subscriber count really has any bearing on. I really don't even.
My FFS last year. So I was going to say my FFS last year immediately got the claim as soon as it went up. It was there immediately. And all it was a filter sweep on the Pro One.
Yeah.
So, and I've only had, I think I might have had 93 subscribers at the time. It's like hardly any. So, and it's definitely not monetized.
Remind me to tell you something about claims in a sec. I just want to finish the point about subscribers. So, so if you guys are wondering, like for me, I probably make maybe about $100 in a month from YouTube. It's not anything. Like that wouldn't even come close to the amount of money that I spend on camera gear and hours and synths. And like if you were looking at this as a potential business, it's not. It's literally it's a money pit.
You're in the wrong business.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is absolutely not even anything to look at. I mean, people that have made a success on YouTube, great, well done. But I just don't even look at it. The point I was going to make about uploading videos and getting copyright claims, the whole studio thing has recently gone through an update, probably within the last 5 months or so. So you should be able to now upload a video before you publish it. It should tell you if it's got any copyright infringements on it.
It's been doing that for me for months. It gives me green tick. Like there's no copyrighted content. There's no threats inside. There's nothing. It's all good to go. But
so that's different to last year. It's unlikely. Like it will tell you pretty much straight away, literally within a few minutes. It'll tell you that whether you've breached a copyright with their algorithm. It's pretty quick. But having said that, I'm sure there's going to be cases where they've checked and it gave the green ticks and they've still uploaded it and it came back later. Because there's the manual system that goes in after that, right? The manual system is different to the algorithm. So yeah.
It might have several tiers, like in flagrant transgression or or just for the owner of the copyright to consider something like that, or just double check manually. They might have several tiers. I'm wondering, I'm imagining how how bizarre that AI is, because it's one of the ones that actually kind of works, but it works for the wrong reasons.
We talked about this last year. Like Andy, you might remember we were talking about this last year. We thought we'd make an album, like we'll just have everyone contribute to this one album, like, and we all just have tracks that are just friggin' filter sweeps from different synths, and upload it through. I'll upload it through my distribution channel and put it onto iTunes and Spotify, and then we'll just have a sleeping demon giant sitting on there waiting to claim all the algorithms. I mean, that's pretty much what these idiots are doing right now. So it's not an ethical thing, is it?
That reminds me something I have a blurred memory. If any of you know this guy in YouTube called Adam Neely, some kind of Rick Beato, but more on the bass side and the modern jazz side of things. He showed a video about some music guy with some lawyers get together to brute force every single melody possible. They had computers running like for years to write down every possible combination of notes of a specific range of notes, like probably only 8 bars and only 7 octaves, but to write them down and put into the lawyers to register them so they can open them for free for everybody, because all these silly copyright claims are, oh, you copied my melody. Oh, because my melody is 70% similar to yours, so you owe me 70% of your revenue.
Yeah.
And you're going like, then what are we doing with music? We only have 12 notes.
Yeah.
We're going to repeat no matter what. We're going to get close to no matter what.
Look, there was
the future of music.
There was an interesting post. You guys probably don't follow it, but there's a group that I follow in Australia called Aussie Wigglers, and this guy, he literally did this project. He spent 6 months doing this, and he's had 12 months now with data that's come out since he's done it. So what he did is he decided that he was going to release that sort of new age ambient sort of music to prove a point. So basically it was to satisfy a niche in the market where there was demand. So he wrote this music. He absolutely hated doing it because it's not what he does. It was really piss easy for him to do as well, which was quite laughable. I'll have to find that article on there and share it with you guys. Then what he did is he uploaded it through his distribution channel, like say DistroKid or whoever it was. And then, so all the music ended up being on Spotify, on iTunes, on Amazon, and all that sort of stuff. And as a result, he made more money from this than any other type of music that he's made in the past, and purely because he was sort of satisfying a demand out there in the market. And so there's a couple of sort of morals of this story that will come out at the end. But the thing is, what ends up happening is he finds out literally how much money he could potentially make, which ended up being about $5,000 Australian, which is £2,500 in a year, which is absolutely, crap amount of money. It's terrible. You can't live off of that. You get more money living off welfare than that. The amount of hours and effort and everything that goes into the equipment that he had to own to do it, all that sort of stuff, completely overshadows anything like what he would earn. He talked about how much one stream would be worth, and it was something like less than half a cent per stream that he earns. And I think he was using Spotify as an example. So one person sitting there enjoying his music, he's earned half a cent. In the old days, you got to think about like how much that person probably would have earned from their music being played. So if they heard it in the old days, they would have had to have bought it on a CD or a cassette or a vinyl, or they would have had to have heard it on the radio. If they heard it on a radio, the radio company has to pay royalties to the musicians through the, distribution owners. So no matter how he heard it in the old days, he would have earned a lot more money just from one listen. So this is the whole morality of this where the music is going in the world. So there's two things that came out of this from his study. Number one was appeasing to the market and writing music purely just to be making financial gain, which he absolutely hated. But it was a shock to him that it was so easy to do and it was so easy to prove right. So that's the first takeaway from this. And the second one is literally how little, we all know that already because we've heard heaps of people talk about it. I think it was Gary Newman from he talked about how little he made from millions of streams of his music. So this is kind of where it's gone, which is probably why we find people trying to scammer over a few cents times thousands and thousands of YouTube channels to collate a few cents times thousands of thousands is dollars, right? To sort of scrape a few dollars each day from YouTube channels for some stupid algorithm. That might be a way to make money. I think it's scammy, but that's kind of why we do FFS.
And thanks to that, the music quality is dropping by the minute.
Well, these are the reasons, aren't they? The reasons is it's market driven, right?
It's what the people want.
Musicians aren't really being paid anymore. This is like the fact is that probably for the last 15 years we weren't paid properly at all. So if you want to do this as a business, really the only way to do it in any sort of way to make money would probably to be touring. I mean, especially in the last 2 years you couldn't do that. But prior to that, you'd make money touring. So touring and performing live were the only real tangible ways to make money. And even with that, there's diminishing returns now with the way that's happening.
Really, I love that meme. Sorry to just, I'll shut up in a second.
Well, after saying all that, I think I'm going to give music up.
You don't do that. Do it because you love it, mate. You do it because you love it.
Exactly. You need to please yourself because people are not going to pay for you pleasing them. So that silly meme, it's everywhere. Basically, it's musician, stop. It's a guy putting 5,000 units worth of gear into a 500 units
the car.
to drive to a venue where he's getting £50 back for his efforts.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, man.
That is the truth. It is.
It's so true.
All right. So if you take away the whole financial side of music and the music industry, right?
It would have disappeared already.
Which let's be honest,
we'll be doing it.
I don't know about you guys, but from my point of view, that is never a consideration for me at all. It's like, it's hobby, it's a bit of pocket money if I do earn something, and that literally just gets swallowed up in buying new gear, so it's all gone. If we have a motivation to make music to make money, you're going to make different type of music than a motivation to make music because you love doing it from an emotional point of view. From a creative emotional point, that is why we do it. It is not why if we're doing it for a business, like I find, here's a really interesting segue on this, right? If I get asked to do a video for a company because they want me to talk about their product, I actually find I hate doing it. But if I do a video because I felt like doing it, I actually find I do better videos. So it even works with non-music stuff, right? If we make music because we love doing it and we make music because it's come from our heart, it comes from a point of creativity where it's an emotional thing that we've got as an idea or what, but then that's going to be more real. And I would much rather have that sort of randomness of chance out there that maybe one day, maybe just by luck, it's not what I'm hoping for, but just by luck, it's this complete random chance, right? Fate, if you call it. Someone might go, oh, that is freaking amazing. Here's a record deal, and here's $1 million, whatever. That's kind of, I would find that a better outcome than kind of trying to sort of fight the system, if that makes sense.
First, I'd like to hear Andrew and Darren's take on this subject, because, I mean, even Andrew had put more music out that I've ever done in my life. So they really know what that is all about. But second is the fact that the more I learn about musicians from the past, because I'm kind of studying music, more than music history, trying to learn about the people, hopefully through podcasts or even YouTube out of the horse's mouth, all the things that are lasting in time, and people have a higher, the things we consider great, the music we call classics, 80% of the time is the composer saying, F, I'll do what I please, not what the record wants me, what the market wants me, what the music corrector wants me, or any trend wants me. I do this music because I like it this way. And suddenly those people became trendsetters.
Because they've got a set of testicles. They've got a set of testicles in them. Well,
and that started with classical music.
Let's put the lads there. We've got them there. We've got both of them next to each other. Let's have a listen to what they have to say.
Go on, Darren.
No, going on there, because he said that he was mentioning you put a lot more music out. So, and you've been out live as well. Going back.
I mean, playing live. I mean, the gig that I did in the summer of last year, I got £100 for doing that, and it was the most money I'd got for doing a gig myself ever. And then the money that's come through from the 2 Bandcamp things which I've stuck up, which is all old stuff. I mean, say about releasing music, not really. The
music is aging.
£186 in total, I think, and I still think it's amazing that anybody's seen fit to chuck money in my direction for those. You know, you don't have to, as Darren was saying earlier. I think that the Bandcamp way of doing things is the way forward for artists, and you've got to do, if you're really determined to try and make money from it, as in make an income from it, I think you've got to work hard, but it's probably impossibly doable via Bandcamp. I can't see another way these days, unless you're getting your music played on rotation on the radio and you hold the publishing rights, i.e. the copyright of it, then you can probably make some money back on that. As for sales of real things, I've never made any money from that other than that bit from Bandcamp. I think the days of being able to press up hard copies of things and make money from them, they're probably long gone now. Maybe I don't know. It all just seems so up in the air at the moment, and it's yet to come back down to the ground. So, I mean, Darren, you actually put out an awful lot more music than me. I mean, the current compositions, things that you're working on, producing, and I hope you see some financial return from it. But I've no idea how that works for you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, pretty much agree with what you say. I mean, I think if you go into the idea of I'm going to write music to try and make a living, then you're probably not. You're going to be very lucky. It's sort of more who you know rather than what you create a lot of the time.
Sad but true.
And as of how do I put it? Getting noticed is not necessarily everything, because the music these days is, like you say, you don't. At one time, you used to get going back a while, you used to get a record deal, which would sort of set you up for at least an album or so, which would then create PAs, live performances and stuff where you would make the money. And that's, like I say, that's where it is. But you've got to be already there. Now, I'm not saying it can't be done, because there's still people out there that make, even over lockdown, there's been some, people who've come from nothing and have done really well. But as a whole, I think music is, when I say so easy to create now, I just mean it's available to everyone to create. Doesn't mean you can create good music, but it's available for everyone to create, which then washes the market with so much that people don't even buy it. They'd rather just download it for free or record it from somewhere. No one wants to buy music. Going back years ago, if you like something, you'd go out and buy an album, whether it be vinyl, CD, whatever, and you would physically put it into your device to listen to it. You bought it, you listened to it. Now it's a quick 20 seconds of each track that you've got for nothing. And that it sort of makes music less, it's less of a commodity. People just want it for free. They would rather have something that, even if it's not as good, for free than pay someone that's, spent months, years even creating an album. I mean, looking at, as you said, by the way, that 70-30 split was in Rave Day's favour, by the way.
Good deal. Good boy.
You're a good manager. You're a good manager there, Darren.
Yeah.
Very generous.
And that's exactly my point. It's not about how much are we musicians. Sorry, I was stupid. Me was including myself. It's how much musicians are getting paid for the efforts. Is this loop of I don't get enough money for how much hours I put into it, so I'll put less hours. And if I do things I don't like, I do the right thing for less time, I get more money. This loop that is creating the music situation we live in, where what is still being promoted by the labels and the TV channels and the radio stations, the few are left, it's like a very tiny little gap of what is being produced, which is already being cookie cut produced to be similar to what already is being successful in the past. So kind of has no future.
I mean, you can an artist could spend say a whole year on a mini album and creating it exactly how they want it, and it probably wouldn't sell. They could spend a couple of weeks just doing something that's in the now, not particularly good, but it's there, and that would make them, once they've got their name out there. But the only thing is, then they're locked into that sort of music that they don't particularly really like, but it's what's bringing in the money, and then that's why you see them going on. That's probably another reason why people went under different names, because you can, like you say, you can balance it out. Make the stuff you like, probably won't make so much money. Make the stuff that everyone likes, so it's not particularly artistic, but you're making your career out of it.
You take the money you make with this selfish commercial to produce your art, but your art never makes any money. So at the end of the day, it's a decision of where do you put your time into.
For me, I kind of still, maybe it's because I'm old and I'm kind of like stuck in my ways, but I still really believe...
You are, Rant.
I still really believe things like this are worth having a crack at doing. If you're making your own music, I've got another one, I just can't hold them all up. Make an effort to actually produce, like, at least a CD. I think the CD is probably the easier one to do. I mean, you can do cassettes, and you can also do vinyl. I don't have a vinyl here, but if you want to, like, people out there will still put those products in their hand if they actually like your music. So we were talking about
keep them.
We were talking about YouTube versus subscribers and all sort of stuff. The amount of money that I make out of YouTube is so petty and so insignificant that you'll notice that when I put my streams up, there's no monetization on my streams while they're live. I might monetize them after for people who are too lazy to watch them live. That's their bad luck. But I don't monetize my streams. There's no point in it because it's literally only going to earn me a few cents, and I'm just going to piss people off that don't like ads. So why even bother? When you can actually make something that someone can have and hold in their hand, and they get the album out and they start looking at the graphics that have been done, the effort that's been put into it, that is still
an emotion.
That is still a connection to that artist. That you're kind of part of that village. Like you want to be part of that, and you're getting that. Whereas you can't get that on a streaming platform. I don't care what anyone says. Like you can have a picture on a screen. It'll once you turn that website over to something else, it's gone. It's like scrolling from Facebook. It's like reading the newspaper. It's in the bin. You've got to have the physical. I still believe that there is definitely a place for physical media for musicians, and I will be a fighter to keep doing that.
Is that physical media though mainly for not the younger generation?
I wouldn't have a clue.
There's some getting into vinyl now because they've never heard it. But
I wouldn't know.
I got contact with the younger generation.
Our generation.
Probably. I wouldn't know how old the people are that are buying it. So I don't ask them.
Darren, thankfully you're wrong. I'm mingling and have a friend which is 20 plus years younger. And he buys cassettes, he buys vinyls, and he buys floppies.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm not saying that there's nobody out there, but on a whole, if you was to look at it on a whole, would it be?
Yeah, proportionally, the big chunk is streaming. It's like instant consumption and with no residue behind it. This is take it, hear it, drop it, next. Yeah, that's the biggest chunk. But even the younger generations, when they get to the experience of, I need to make an effort to find an artist who has a piece of physical thing that if I put on my physical higher quality, let's not get into the audio quality business for the moment, higher quality thing, and I listen to this, what I get inside me, this fuzzy feeling in here, right, is way better. And I like it.
Yeah,
so
I do too.
Keep doing it.
Yeah, same.
That's why the newest generation think. Obviously, they cannot afford the sorry, that I'm not having a go on you, Darren. All that collection of CDs back behind you on the wall. We're talking at a glance. What is that? 200 items.
There's more up there, and there's vinyl down here. So yeah, there's a lot.
Exactly.
I mean, like I say, I'm like you. I and Ranz and Andy, I like to keep, because it's physically yours. When you've just streamed something or you've got it on a download,
completely different
that could just disappear.
Yeah.
I mean, you can.
That's what I'm saying. Everyone listens to it on the phone.
This is the thing, guys. Right? This is the thing.
The quality.
You grab a CD, and you don't even have to. You don't even have to have it playing. This is what I'm trying to say. You grab a CD. You can open it up. You can take the sleeve out. You can read it. Flip over the pages. Even the printing that's on the CD or the back. Everything. It's a thing,
you
right?
Learn the name of the songs.
You do not get that by streaming. I don't care what anyone says. There you go. Look at that.
And even more, you have no idea how many famous people in podcast, famous like from the origins of synthesis, they tell the story like, I got into synthesizers because in the back of a record, they named synthesizer or Moog Mini Moog or what if you don't have that information?
Yeah.
You don't know band names, you don't know member names, you don't know producer names, mixer, mastering, all that.
And then everybody knew what a synthesizer was.
Eddie, exactly. I still have a list of synths that I want to own because Jean-Michel Jarre put it on his albums. I'm like, I want a 2500. I want. You know what I mean?
And all that is gone. How sad is that?
Yeah. Hey, look, we got to.
I was wanted a W30 just because Prodigy had one.
We're going to do another segment.
Never got it out.
Guys, we're going to do another segment. Let's roll the stinger. Let's do this. Here we go. we went off on a massive tangent, and that's okay because the tangents are sometimes worth going off on, and hopefully they were beneficial and got you thinking about what we were talking about before. We all have different opinions too. You might not agree with us either, so, and that's also really, really cool. We'd love to hear your side of the story. But Name That Synth, what is this about? If you are new here, it's about getting some very, very obscure digital information, visual information, and then listening really carefully to the audio information that's about to come out on this video, because the audio is going to give you the clue for you to guess what you think this synth is. And once again, the illustrious Eddie has put this together. Thank you very much, Eddie. Now, we're not going to show you, I'm not going to show you a face on this because I think it could even give it away. So what we're going to do is we're going to go straight to it. Whoever thinks they know what it is, jump straight into chat and put what it's called. Here we go. Sorry, I was just saying, I always do that, don't I? GR50 Technics 1210, I was laughing at that one. Base Station 2 from Mr. Brooks. Yeah.
Silly me. I wasn't listening, I was looking at.
So someone said a Yamaha DX11. I thought that was actually really, really good. I was actually enjoying the music on that one. Anyway, no one's got it yet. So what I'm going to do, because nobody's got it yet, is I'm going to go back to here and I'm going to put us all out of our misery. All of us are going to be out of our misery now because Eddie has once again beaten us. Yes,
oh, nearly,
it's
Jim.
A GR55. Jim, you got it so close. And we did show that, we did a show on this, didn't we, Eddie? We did a show on this not that long ago. Yeah. And it is a synthesizer. Just so you guys, you can't get nasty with it. It says synthesizer, right?
Oh, yeah. So, caveats for this one. First, the first seconds, the little film is to explain why can you use more than the actual 4 voices you can execute at the same time. All right. So the drums, in a way, the backing track, drum and bass was recorded, which is also coming from the output because it has an MP3 player. So fair game. Sorry, being naughty there. Okay.
I do think we can award it to Jim though, because he got GR77 rather than 55, which was pretty close. I think pretty good.
Well, he can.
In fact.
He can have
closer.
He can have a lolly.
Yes.
He'll have to buy himself.
If Andy got mine, and it was he said Erebus and that Erebus Mark II.
Oh, that was when he was doing a silly dance, wasn't it?
Second caveat.
Let me give you a hair to split, Darren.
Just understand that the music is all played on a guitar. The drums come from the guitar, bass comes from the guitar, everything comes from a guitar. It's not being played by keys.
All right.
So
everyone wants Jim to win.
That one's on me.
Even though Jim didn't get it. Geez, he wouldn't last long. Right. Max saying that Paul Torbett said GR55. I'm going to need to check that.
No, he said GR50.
He said GR50, yeah. So he's close as well.
He's
In fact, I don't know which one is earlier, like in closer to the 55. The 55 is the latest they ever released.
I don't think a 50 even existed, did it? Did a 50 exist?
Yeah.
It did.
The D33, the D30, the DGR10, GR20. I have no knowledge about the 77. Never heard of that.
I'm probably going to end up selling mine, I think, my 55. Because I don't use it enough. I do like it. It was on 2 tracks. It's on 2 of my albums already, so it's decent. If it's decent enough to go onto tracks, it's decent.
I mean,
but yeah.
What it does good, it does it awesome. The problem is all the things it does not do good.
Yeah, like you correctly corrected me on was the MIDI side of it, the MIDI in part of it, yeah, which is absolutely non-existent.
To the point, to do this track, I use the GR55 exclusively, even as an audio interface.
Right, yeah, which you can do,
I printed every single track into a MIDI track, except for the choppy, distorted guitar. That one is actual guitar audio, which also can do is the 4th voice, right? It can output every type of MIDI out, but if you try to play it back into the unit,
you know what though?
They did it.
That demo.
It was the first one.
That demo sounded amazing. It really, really did. If you just use the GR55 to record all that
exclusively,
that is some really decent quality gear. Seriously, I mean, obviously the playing helps. The playing helps a lot. Yeah.
But they're mind-blowing. The effects in that thing are mind-blowing. It's kind of a waste because it's so high in some things and then so low in other things.
It's typical Roland. Typical Roland.
And to my knowledge, is the first GR in history who does not take MIDI in. Every previous unit, that's why I bought the 55. Always the latest must be the better one.
And it didn't.
Every single one could take keyboard input from the MIDI.
Yeah, after we did that show last year, I went and scoured the internet and found all these people raging, throwing their guitars at the screen at Roland for not actually implementing that, because I mean that's just a really big anomaly. The reason why they didn't though is purely sales selfishness. That's the reason why they didn't. Complete money selfishness. Yeah. Yep. Which is we're not going to go there. We'll end up having a rant section.
Yes. Sorry, guys.
Have we not got one of those?
Yeah, we're not having one today.
Okay.
We already had
another one today.
Oh, that was really, really good. I really enjoyed that. Darren's done a really, really good one. Now you've done all of them have been really, really good, but these two are take the cake. Absolutely, really, really good. Yes, maybe Jim and Paul can wear a semi consolation prize for getting close. Yeah. I mean, because honestly,
I don't know which one is newer, but 50 I think was the previous one. Probably 77 was kind of a desktop hybrid between the VG guitar and the GR family, I believe. Am I wrong about that?
I honestly thought when I was listening to it that it might have been some sort of sampling type synthesizer, like an M3 or something like that, where you can actually record full-on sample tracks as well as it playing its own internal engine synth and sequence the whole thing. Someone's going to do something like an M3 or a Montage or a Phantom, like one of those really big sort of workstation synths, and we're just going to be like hearing a full-on production, song coming out of it, which is completely allowed because those synths can do it all internally. So it's whatever it's inside the four corners of that synth, whatever it can do, go for it.
I just checked. The 77 is way older. Is one of the
older ones.
Massive
is it the 80s one, isn't it?
Game with the guitar.
Yeah.
You remember the one with the black bar on top?
Yeah.
That was the
Just got in the way.
GR77 system.
Yeah.
So the GR50, I think, is the closest, like in timeline-wise.
Oh, well done then. Was that,
Sorry, what?
Was that Paul, was it? I'm
Yep.
saying well done then. That was Paul, wasn't it?
Yep.
Sorry, Jim. Take your hat off.
Yeah, yeah. You take your lolly out your mouth. With the when I got my GR55, I actually bought the Fender, the Roland Fender guitar with it. So you didn't have to, or separate, but I bought them as a bundle. And I actually really like that guitar. It's actually a really nice guitar.
It is.
In terms of all the electric guitars, I don't have a lot of knowledge of electric guitars.
No.
But it's actually
aside from everything,
it's actually nice to play. Like it's you know quite good quality. It's not the best guitar in the world, but it's nice to play.
And that's exactly the Achilles heel of the whole concept, is the fact that because guitar, you spend so many hours practicing in your craft, and you get so acquainted with the actual physicality of it. Roland and Yamaha, and I think even Korg did at one time. I think in the 80s, everybody came with a guitar synthesizer. The problem was the guitar itself, not so much the technology or the balance between implementing the technology that can actually work into the guitar that the guitar player wants. That's what every single manufacturer who still does MIDI guitar is trying to push a guitar. The new iteration, well, first of all, Roland has stopped doing any synth guitar for the last 11, 12 years already. But they've moved this task to Boss, the guitar friend or subsidiary or sibling company. And they are developing, first on the GT line, they put the MIDI to guitar technology, already showed in that show we did about the guitars, which is mind-blowing. Only problem is monophonic. Then they put the same technology into the SY line of first a Stonebox, then a small unit, then a big side unit, which is the SY1000, I believe, which is basically taking over the GR55. It's everything the 55 can do, but supposedly better because it tracks faster and it can do, claims to be able to do polyphonic analog subtracted synthesis just out of the 1/4-inch cable on the guitar. No JK pickup required. But at the same time, they push you at the same time, oh, but please buy the JK if you want the 100% capability of the SY1000.
All it is, like, you just got to understand the reality of this, right? Is that really guitarists they just want to be able to play synths. That's all it is.
Yes.
So put your freaking guitar down and there's little black and white keys, right? Just like, it's horizontal. None of this strumming and vertical business. It's horizontal. Just go play a synth. Like, stop plugging your guitars in. I mean, I'll let you plug your guitar into a 2600. That's pretty cool.
That's the one I still haven't tried to do. But another thought that hit me when I was working on this one is, wait a second. It's claimed to have 2 PCM synth engines, fully polyphonic, right? I think it's 128
Supernatural.
156 notes polyphonic.
Yeah.
But then I thought, wait a second. Each engine will never handle more than 6 notes. So,
but Roland just copy and paste that code into their chips. It's not. It's a marketing thing that is literally just the engineers are like copy paste code. They've already had it. They've had it since Integra or whatever it is. It's been out. Supernatural has been out for a long time. So yeah.
And because of the no keyboard thing, I cannot put it to the test.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to have to. I would love to keep going. I'm going to have to stop the show because it's been going for 3 hours and 17 minutes, and I'm getting.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. We can carry on the conversation next week because that's what next week's about. Yeah. It's been excellent having everyone. Also, excellent having the chatties. Much appreciated everyone for hanging around for these last 3 hours. Wow, long stream today. Looking forward to the shorter streams when you guys hit daylight savings. It's starting to get too long for me. That's a couple of weeks away, I believe, when it hits for you guys. Thanks, Danielle, for the €2. That's much appreciated. 30% of that goes to YouTube. Woohoo! Brilliant. Thank you, everyone. Let's say quick goodbyes, and then we're going to finish the show.
Yeah, see everyone. See you over at Mr. Weekly's tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
And Jamie's.
Go see Dom's stream tomorrow. Yeah, I think Jamie's on tomorrow as well, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
And please
quite
keep
8.5 hours,
uploading
definitely
your... Sorry.
It's all doing FFS. I haven't done mine yet. I will do it straight after this.
Thanks, Wagoo, for the 10 chuffs. I like his chuffs. I'm chuffed with his chuffs. Righto, everyone, all the best.
See you all.
Bye all.